Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast, transfer deadline day special. So, with no further ado, hello Danny.
Hello, you bad-lined little freak, you.
And are you looking forward to today, you freak?
If those fuckers from BT hurry up, get round there and get your broadband going, I will be.
Well, I apologise for the sound quality at the moment. However, there is someone from BT coming round ASAP to connect my line. But should we introduce a guest for this short podcast first?
Go on then, sir.
First of all, joining us from the Gooner Girls podcast, it's the host, it's Gooner Girl Kate.
Hello.
Oh.
How are you?
Hello, Kate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Danny. How are you?
Oh, fat, bald and angry.
Okay. So do I have to go with that one?
You might have heard a little giggle in the background, so I'll introduce our second guest of the day. Also joining us from the Gooner Girls podcast, it's Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Gimli. How are you? Hi, Danny.
Hello, Amanda.
You better be nice and stop swearing. There's women present.
You cheeky monkey,
Oi.
you. Oi.
Your first podcast of the day, you don't have to swear. We'll leave that till 10:59 tonight when we haven't signed anyone.
I'll be fucking hanging from a tree somewhere.
I'd put it down to at least about 2 o'clock this afternoon before the swear word started creeping in.
Yes.
You saved it all for us.
As this is only going to be 10 to 15 minutes, because then hopefully I'll have this up for about 12:30. The first thing we need to talk about is our new goalkeeper. Has anybody ever heard of him?
I don't know much.
No, we don't know much, to be honest. You enlighten us.
Well, luckily for you, you lucky people, my Italian team, apart from Inter Milan, is Palermo, which I've supported since 1987 when they were in Serie C2, I think, which is the equivalent of like Division 4 or 5. And he's been at Inter for a season, and then Palermo did one of those messed up Italian deals where they have part ownership. So I think there was a £6 million part ownership. So then Palermo decided, we want him back. What we're going to do, we're going to lend you the Italian Silvestri, and then that's worth £3 million. So Inter got him for a season. Palermo got full ownership. And then what did Palermo do? Loaned him straight out to Fiorentina. So he spent half a season with Fiorentina in 12-13, played 32 games. And then, I'm not sure what order it went, but then I think he went back to Palermo, or the other way around, and he played 20 games for Palermo, and he conceded 36 goals, which isn't really very good. And they did get relegated, bless them, for the first time in years. But Fiorentina, who he was also with last season, 32 games, conceded 34 goals. Now that's not too shonky, is it?
Danny, have we bought him or is he on loan?
1 year loan with an option to buy him later, but we were after him a while ago. But he's worth about 67 million quid. He's 27. He's played for Italy 6 times, and the Italian Olympic team in 2008 played for them 6 times. And he's 6'5".
Oh my word!
He's a behemoth of a human being.
He is a beast of a goalkeeper.
Looking at him, he's got a touch of the Almunias. Looking at him, he looks like he doesn't know what day it is.
We need another one of those, don't we?
I do.
Is he any better than what we've already got?
That's debatable. Flappy Ansky is a definite third place now, and I think it's between him and Szczesny for the main one. So I think he'll be doing maybe what they did with Nacho and Gibbs last season, where one would play at home, one would play away, which isn't really good, because if anyone's old enough like me to remember the whole situation with Ray Clements and Peter Shilton, where they played one game each, that doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't. Maybe it's just more competition for Ches is what we need. I mean, because he is a lunatic, isn't he? As much as he's a great shot stopper, he doesn't do my nerves very good sometimes.
Well,
he reminds me of Bruce Grobbelaar. It just reminds me of him so much, where you just don't know what he's going to do next.
It is annoying. He's got a touch of the Jerry Paytons about him. If Steve was here, that's what he'd say. Mr. Lord Hillwool.
This is only a short podcast. I think the main news that we probably need to touch on this is the Sky Sports breaking news last night that I basically got over my phone when we drove back to Wales. That was, we are in advanced talk with Mesut Ozil.
Mr. Ozil?
Yeah, I know, but are we going to pay his wages? I mean, I don't know.
Amanda, don't always sound so miserable about
I
things.
know, but yeah, I don't do transfers till they're done, do I? Then I talk about it. I'm probably the worst person to have on at 12 o'clock. I should have been on at 11 o'clock.
You've got John Cross, who tweeted roughly about when this is going out, about 10 minutes ago, so about probably 40 minutes your time, that he wants to come now, that Arsenal have persuaded him, because at first he wasn't keen. So you've got to believe that a deal will be on the table, and we can push it through maybe this afternoon. And
I do believe, Gimli, that is possible. I think if it's come out and it's on Sky Sports News, it's more than likely. That happened with Arteta, didn't it? So, but you know what? It's great and everything, but what about the rest of them? What about the centre half? That's desperation, and no one's even talking about that.
Has anyone any idea?
I'm still nursing the chili as a thought of playing Cazorla on the wing and Ozil down the middle.
I think that's going to have to be where it is, according to the Daily Mail.
On the wing. Oh.
No, I'd like Cazorla to play in the Bergkamp hole, but that's where Ozil plays. But apparently, according to the Daily Mail, 9 minutes ago, he wants 180 grand a week.
Yeah. Well, we need to pay it, Danny. We've got the money. We need to pay it. End of.
He'll get 50 grand a week to be happy.
As that class will become available, you've got to sign him, regardless of wages. They're all talking about competing. They said about Rooney and being able to pay the wages and the fee. You've got a player there that wants to come. He said what he wants. Pay him in a shirt, play him, done. Make the fans happy.
Gimli, calm down. Yes, we know, but we know Arsenal don't pay 180 grand. Maybe they will. Maybe they've learned their lessons.
Yeah, but when you...
If we want the players, we're going to have to pay it. So we are going to have to pay it. And I think he might have learnt his lesson from all the times before. So let's fingers crossed that he actually does it this time.
I
think he will. What about Benzema and Di Maria? And the list is endless.
Benzema isn't going to happen.
Also, there's breaking news that we're in talks with Chelsea over a possible loan move for Demba Ba as well.
That wouldn't be a bad thing. That wouldn't be. But I don't know why they'd loan him to us.
Well, because we'll give him £2 million.
Yeah, but they don't need the money, do they, Danny?
Yeah, but they want to get rid of his wages, and they'll get it's usually a couple of £1 million to loan a player for a season.
You know what's gutting about this? We should have bought him in the bloody first place.
Plus, also the fact that Demba Ba will have a clause in that contract saying he can't play against Chelsea as well. So
yeah, well, that's standard. That's standard, yeah.
You know, if Arsenal, if he does do well for Arsenal, then you can guarantee he won't play against Chelsea. So if we mess up any games, it's purely Arsenal's doing and nothing that he could have done against them. So, I mean, there's plenty of reasons to be positive this podcast. And I'm sure in on the podcast coming up, there's also going to be loads of reasons to be positive. But we'll be looking out for all the latest news and we'll be releasing it on this podcast. I mean, we've got Geoff and Tim coming up next, and that's going to be another good one. I know Geoff has got lots of news for us. Isn't that right, Danny?
Yeah, hopefully he will have. And he said he's going to have so much news during the day that he's going to be on permanent standby and he's coming on at least twice.
Oh, so Geoff's more important than us then, yes?
Well, what do you know? You're at home with your feet up watching Loose Women. Geoff's in the heat of the battle.
I'll have you know that Loose Women doesn't started yet, and I've got Sky Sports News on since 7 a.m, Danny. How dare you?
You just have no favours there by admitting that you do watch Loose Women.
I love Loose Women, got no problem admitting it. I am definitely a loose woman.
He's there, he's got the war paint on. Just ready for battle.
How come they haven't got you in as a stand-in now Carol's in Big Brother then, Amanda?
I'd be perfect as a loose woman, wouldn't I? I'm like Carol McGiffin anyway.
I wouldn't get a word in.
Sorry, Danny. Yeah. Like you don't talk.
I've never talked.
When are you coming on our podcast, Danny, or are you too scared?
I said I'll come on whenever you want.
Good. Who's on the list, Kate?
I've never been on yours.
I'll come on when Durham's on it. Oops.
No, Durham's on his own.
Is he?
Yeah. Okay, so look, we're positive. I feel positive. It's nice that we're in the news about a decent player.
How about Cabaye? Anyone heard anything about him yet?
Don't know. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I heard that he was in France talking to PSG, so that looks like that was a goer. So I think we've possibly gone a little bit higher to a different class of player because I couldn't see what Cabaye could actually bring to the team that we haven't already got.
I agree with you, Lord. I couldn't see it. I didn't understand what he was doing there. Do we know how long Arteta's out for? I mean, our 3 weeks is probably 3 months anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I think Arteta isn't going to be out for much longer. I read the other day that it's a hip thigh injury, so he should be back end of September, beginning of October, hopefully. So maybe another month at the most.
Danny, have you not learned?
He's dead.
God forbid. Have you not learned that 3 weeks is 3 months in Arsenal years?
They've put him in the back of an old Ford Cortina and they've weighed it in.
He's put it in. He's sitting with the RB in the medical room.
Oh dear. Yeah.
What sort of about Nicholas Bentner then? Will he stay or will he go, do you reckon?
Who?
Nicholas Bentner.
The Lord says he's going.
Well, there's talk of him going to Palace.
Oh, my friend's the season ticket holder at Palace. She's now got Shamak and Bentner. I feel so sorry for her.
And they're in talks with Gallas.
Oh, God.
I know.
Oh, dear, the players that have come through our team. Oh, can we just touch on yesterday quickly?
If you want, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes.
Right, I just have 1 minute and the rest can go. I was there and the atmosphere was unbelievable. The fans were phenomenal. We were the 12th man. Yes, we did tire in the second half, but, you know, it's expected. He played our team against Fenerbahce, didn't he? But honestly, it was rocking yesterday. It was just like Highbury. Brilliant. So well done to all you Gooners.
It was very good.
They spent 100 million and they're still not better than Arsenal. Whatever.
Their finishing was very, very poor. Their finishing was terrible. I wasn't worried at all, actually. I mean, the last 5 minutes was like being a Newcastle again with the onslaught. But, you know, I think we deserved it. I had a lot of arguments with Tottenham fans last night. I think we deserved it. I don't think they even turned up.
Oh, he should have won that 4-1.
Easy. If it wasn't for their goalkeeper, Loris, we would have done.
Yeah, it would have been. We said that.
Oh, just Sky News are now showing that there's someone at Real Madrid wheeling in a big wheelbarrow full of bananas. So it must be the Bale unveiling. He's coming in on a vine leaf.
You're not interested in him. He's gone.
Oh, he's a Real Madrid player now.
The Ronaldo one.
If he'd have played yesterday, there might have been a better team. Poor old Capoue. Bless him.
I know.
Injury prone. Ha, ha, ha.
Is that a year out now?
Hopefully.
Don't say that.
How long is he out for? Do we know?
Not long enough.
You boys are terrible.
I don't think there's. It's a leg injury, and it's no return date.
So how long are you doing this every hour now?
Yeah, every hour, and then it will be uploaded on iTunes and the website for past every hour, hopefully, because I did all the HTML work last night for the site, and that's all saved.
Oh, so every 30 minutes past the hour, we can log on and listen to something, yeah?
Certainly can, hopefully. I'm not sure how iTunes will like having 11 podcasts in one day, so this may be the only one that gets on iTunes.
Well, as long as you get us on, Kate and I don't care, do we, Kate?
No, we don't care about anyone else.
As long as the Gooner girls are on, we're happy.
All right, so ladies, if you had to pick 2 more players today to sign, who would they be?
I'll let Kate go first.
Ooh, Fellaini, but that's not going to happen. But in an ideal world. And, Casillas.
Bloody hell, what are you playing, FIFA?
Oh, I want a good goalkeeper rather than some shitty Palermo cast off we've got on loan.
So then we'll have 4 goalkeepers and 1 striker and 1 winger.
I would have Rooney.
Rooney then.
Oh,
go on, Kate.
Fucking Rooney.
I'd have Rooney instead of Casillas.
That was useful. Go on, Kate, who would you have? Rooney and who?
No, I'm not Kate.
No. Oh, she's still going to stick to Rooney and Fellaini.
Who are you going for, Kate?
Rooney and Fellaini.
Okay. All right, Amanda, who do you have?
Well, Rooney is definitely top of my list. That's the animal we need in the team.
Animal.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Or vegetable.
That's what we need. He's not a vegetable. And I want a decent centre half. I'm desperate because we are 1 injury away from Armageddon. And I swear, I don't know about Vermaelen coming back. I mean, Sanya, actually, do you know what? We actually need a right back because I want Sanya at centre half. I don't think Jenkinson's there yet. Di Maria, I've got an endless list. Cesc, I'd love Cesc to come back.
You can have 2.
I always want more, Danny. Rooney in a centre half.
Well, Vermaelen's meant to be back by the next Premier League game, I think, 14th of September, it says here.
But he was pants the whole season last year. He was pants, and I love Vermaelen. So if he can pick up, then I'll have Di Maria and Rooney.
Gimli, who do you have?
I'd have to agree with Amanda on that one. Or, failing Rooney, if we couldn't get him, I'd probably go for Benzema and just completely clean out Real Madrid. So Di Maria and Benzema or Rooney for me.
Oh, well, that's sorted. Well, it's 18 minutes past 12 p.m. on the 2nd of September 2013. And there you go, that's the first part all done.
You didn't say who you picked, Danny.
Okay, I'll have Fellaini, which isn't going to happen, and I want someone to be able to play on the right wing, because poor old Theo's fucking clueless most of the time, and I'd like to see him play up front, so I'll have Di Maria.
So, that was the first instalment of a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Join us in an hour for plenty more. Geoff Arsenal and Tim Payton on the way. See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us. Remember, Gooner Girls rock.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, a transfer deadline day special. The second instalment brings to you Geoff, Arsenal and Tim Payton, and of course I'm joined by Danny again. Hello gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, go.
Afternoon.
And how are you all doing this afternoon?
We're doing pretty good. Patience is rewarded.
I knew he'd have to slip that in there pretty soon.
Horrible. I hate myself now.
So we'll kick off this podcast and start with, on the last one we touched on Demba Ba's possible loan move, but we'll go straight over to Tim, and I understand, Tim, you want to talk about the transfer window and what the other possible striking options are for the club.
Well, I still think this is actually what this transfer window was all about. We've spent 12 weeks getting really irate and concerned, largely about who is going to come in and score the goals, either to replace Giroud or to be the cover for him. And he is developing game by game into a wonderful player for us now. But that, he cannot carry it every game. We need another striker. It was all about Iguan for weeks. Then it was all about Suarez. We've got, 10 hours left and about £60 million in the bank account. Who do you think that money can be spent on, Geoff?
I think how I see it is, I think, like you said, Arsene set his sights on the two or three that you named, Higuain, Suarez and Rooney. What I don't think he's going to be doing is being panicked into signing someone in this window. I do believe that it's going to take us 2 or 3 windows before we get our right team set up. I don't think he's going to panic. I think he very well could go in for a loan deal on somebody. Demba Ba looks likely. I spoke about this yesterday. I don't think it's a bad deal, Demba Ba. I think he's a nuisance. We definitely do need backup for Giroud. There's no doubt about it. We'll have to see what happens. He's still got time yet. Don't worry about that.
Go on, Tim.
Is there anything you can tell us on what's happening with Ozil at the moment, Geoff?
Ozil is currently undergoing a medical in Munich. He hasn't met up with a German team yet. But so it's all done and dusted apart from him passing his medical, apparently. So hopefully that will get done. I think it'll be a terrific signing for us. It really will. And
for all of those people out there that will be asking, so what about if Man United decide last minute they want him? Is that a possibility, or is it pretty much done and dusted that he'll come bar a medical?
Yeah, I don't think Man United is an option at the moment. I think it's too late for them. If there was any interest, apparently United have denied any interest in Mesut Ozil. But I think, I got a text message at 2:15 yesterday. I was driving to Arsenal on my scooter, driving through the West End, and the text went off, and I stopped. I nearly fell off my scooter, mate, when it said that they was in. It was in chats with Mesut Ozil right now, and the deal's being done right now. So most of it was tidied up yesterday, from between when the game was going on, and the medical's going on as we speak today.
Oh, that's great news. And Tim, what does Mesut Ozil bring to the Arsenal team for you, if it happens?
I think it's the whole lift it gives everybody. It's the first real world-class global superstar signing, probably, that you just know arrives absolutely nailed on, probably since Sol Campbell. You think what it gives to the club, it's more than what he just gives to the team, where he's a fantastic player. But as Geoff has said, as we start to increase our revenues, and it takes 2 or 3 windows, if you can sign Ozil, you can persuade other players to come in time. It's a statement. It's transformational that Arsenal are back. Also, look at the wages that are being paid. This is a complete change in how Arsenal have operated, and overdue because the world of football has changed. But it shows we will pay big players big money transfer fees and big wages. So I think it is the beginning of a renaissance for Arsenal.
And Danny, is this Arsene Wenger's Dennis Bergkamp moment?
Oh, I think it could well be. It's a little bit. I think it's odd that Real Madrid paid, I think, 13-14 million for him 3 years ago, and now they don't want him. We're having to pay 42 million, but beggars can't be choosers. And another thing I was just thinking about, do you know this? By signing Vivano today, he is only the 5th player that Arsene Wenger in these 17 years has had on loan. The others being Yossi Benayoun, the Beast, Batista, Caballero. Do anyone remember him?
Yeah,
young striker.
Yeah.
And Junichi Inamoto, who I thought we bought, but we didn't. We only had him on loan. And before that, the last player we had on loan before those 5, I think, was Jim Leighton, and he didn't even get a game. So that's just nice to see Wenger making use of the loan system, because there are so many quality players out there. I know an average a loan's going to cost you between £1 and £2 million for a season, and I think that's money well spent. And Yossi is still out there on a free, and I think he's still a half-decent player if anybody wants him.
So we'll go back to the striking options then. And I really want to ask you guys, if Suarez is still available, and do we think that a 60 million bid or around 60 million could tempt Liverpool into selling?
I don't think they're selling. I think they've made it perfectly clear. I think, again, a statement of intent by that club when, J.W. Henry, he can't go back on that. The reason no one's sniffing around them, if someone was going to have a go after Suarez, they'd have been softening it up over the last 48 hours. I think that deal's done. The interesting thing, and Geoff alluded to it earlier, is do Arsenal maybe spend 10-15 million pound on someone who's not quite right now, or do you get in a bar who could do a very good job for you so that you can then come back into the market in January or next year with your 50-60 million pounds? And these are calls that they have to get right. But in a transfer window where we've also written off about 20 million in terms of Bentner, Park, Santos, maybe it's the right decision to start using loans a bit more and start waiting to get the signing absolutely right, and use the loan system to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100% on that. I think it is best. He won't be panicked, like I said, Wenger. And I really do think he's doing the right thing, unless someone pops up at the last minute. I don't think it's done yet, though. There's still other options out there. I don't know about as a striker, but there's still other options offensively that could work for Arsenal. Di Maria's still in the loop at the moment. There might be something coming on that. I think we may be interested in signing a fullback as well to cover for Jenkinson. I think we need to strengthen that area of the pitch as well. But I think it's all looking good for Arsenal at the moment.
So I was thinking that if we do buy Di Maria, he's predominantly a right-sided midfielder. Would Wenger be thinking that might free up Theo to play more up front?
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a good shout, I think we do need options. We need to bulk our squad up a little bit. Obviously, we've let a lot of players go. If we're going to play maybe the 50 to 60 games per season, we're going to have to bulk up. We still need maybe 3 or 4 in yet. Don't worry about that. Whether they're going to be the marquee ones that we all want, I don't know. I'm not sure of. But I still do think there's a little bit of work to be done yet, and I'm sure Wenger's out there trying to do his best.
Have you heard anything about centre-back, Tim? Because we are down to 1 centre-back.
No, I've phoned a couple of the journalists today, and the messaging from Arsenal is no defensive signings today, although, of course, there can be some bluff going on. I agree with Geoff. I still think this squad is I would say far too thin or too thin. I don't know if the word far is harsh. But remember, if you're a top club, it all happens in April, May, doesn't it? You end up with your Premier League deciding games alongside your Champions League quarter-final and semi-final, and maybe an FA Cup quarter-final thrown in there. You get these 3 massive games in 7-8 days. And the Arsenal squad still, I feel, needs 5-6 bodies adding to it of good quality to really cope with that. You can see it edging towards it, but like personally, I'd really like to see a defensive player come in as well to add some solidity there. But the messaging at the moment is that's not where he's looking.
And I know you boys are going to join us at some point as well later on the show, aren't you? I know you've agreed that if anything's breaking, then you're going to jump on any podcast later in the day and break it live with us, aren't you?
Yeah, that's fine. If anything comes through on my end of the jungle drum, I'll be straight on to you, Gim. Don't worry.
Fantastic. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, and I will ask you individually, is how much can you guys see us spending today? And I'll start with Tim.
Well, it looks like we spent 42 million. You have to also add in the contracts. I'd rather say, let's say, Arsenal fans have put into this club for a lot of years now. There is 60 to 70 million there that could be spent. I don't know how much of it will be spent, but that's the potential. Don't panic spend it, Geoff's right, but equally, it doesn't score a goal or keep a clean sheet sitting in a bank account. So I hope over the next 10 hours they will use some of that 60 million and give us a 22 that we can be confident in, rather than at the moment a kind of 15, 16 we can be confident in.
Yeah, I
Great
agree.
answer.
I agree 100%. What Tim said there. It's no good leaving it in the bank. We need these quality players on the pitch and in the squad, to see us through the season. I still do think they're going to be spending another 20 or 25 million pound apart from Mesut Ozil. I think so, in my opinion.
Oh, I've got a question.
Brilliant. And finally, Danny.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say. What's the question you were asking there? How much do you think we're going to spend? By the way we're looking at it, it's going to be the 42 for Ozil. I know you can't really take into account the wages yet, because if his wages are anywhere close to the £180,000 a week that we've been read about, that I've read about, I think it would be closer to about 150. So having to completely smash the wage structure, but he's freed up so much money in the summer. I think that maybe it's going to be 42 for Ozil and maybe another 30 or 40 on one big player or two less expensive players, and I'm glad to see Geoff's dog agrees.
Oh,
I have to say, I think he's gonna do 90 million today. I'm the only one that's going to put a figure on it, but I think he'll do 90 million. So, who's on the next podcast then, Danny?
Nice that you sprung that on me without letting me know that you're going to ask me that question. And while I cover by just talking about it, I'm going to have a look and go. It's going to be Steve. Oh no, it's not. That's the. Which one am I looking at? I'm looking.
You don't know what you're doing.
I have got, because I have to have 3 Twitters open at once. I've got Firefox, I've got Google Chrome, and I've got Komodo Dragon all open, and I've got 17 windows open. The next one is going to be. Oh, still on the wrong page. I thought I had to
see this is better with a fax machine later over this, or we're in real trouble.
I just looked in all 3 browsers and they were all stuck on the current podcast. The next one at 2 o'clock is Andrew, who is at PR_who are you, and Dean, who is at dialsquare18_1886. So they will be on at 2 p.m. Oh,
that'll be good. That'll be very, very good.
Yeah, they both know
Geoff's
stuff.
dog is a fan of Dean as well.
Yeah, the barking. That's right.
So Tim and Geoff, if you taking that Ozil is a definite signing, what other 2 players would you like to see at the club by the end of the day?
Myself, I would like to see Di Maria. I would accept Demba Ba on loan and one right-sided defender. But don't forget we've got Flamini in there, so he can cover as a right back or a left back, or so maybe. But we still need bodies, decent bodies in there.
Yeah.
Tim? I would like to see a really big bid for Benteke. I think he's the sort of player that would suit our game. I also think that's an Arsene Wenger type signing, someone that he can develop and bring on.
Even though he signed a massive contract in the summer for Villa,
just means you have to pay a bit more.
Do you think they did that to cover themselves so they can ask for more money?
Yeah.
Just the one player, Tim, or you can pick another one?
No, I'll leave it there. That would make me happy.
So I'll finish this up, guys.
Gaze. I like it.
Dear
I went all
Mr. Gay.
stand up on your asses. I'd like to finish this up, guys, by thanking you for coming on, and hope that you'll be with us later on in the day. And that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast part 2 of the Transfer Deadline Day special. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in an hour. Goodbye.
Bonjour.
Bye.
Good boy. Well done, lads. And we'll be in touch, eh?
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, a Transfer Deadline Day special. Part 3 of today brings you Andrew, Mr. PR_ who are you? Hello, Andrew.
Good afternoon, Gimli. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm pulling my hair out right now, but yeah, I'm good.
Fantastic. And the second guest with us today is Mr. Dean, and he is Dial__1886.
Hi, Gim, Danny. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Good.
I haven't introduced Danny yet, but hello as well, Danny. I know you're going to be there all throughout the day with us.
Yeah, just take it as read for the rest of these podcasts. I'm here and I'm okie dokie.
Jump in the
Fantastic.
gun,
So we jump straight into proceedings then. And I don't know what you guys have heard within the last hour, or if you managed to get on the website. I know our website at the moment is very, very busy, so please bear with us. If you are listening to this and you are one of the lucky ones that's managed to access it, please just click in that button. You will get to listen at some point. It's just a bit manic, and you have our apologies. But first of all, we'll go straight and talk about Angel Di Maria, and I'd like to go over to Andrew first. What do you know about him?
I mean, yeah, I think he would be a fantastic addition to this to our side. I think if you, from watching him, I know obviously Arsene Wenger's a huge advocate of him. I think we apparently tried to sign him when he was playing over for Rosario Central in Argentina. And I mean, that's quite a common theme with players, which Wenger's been looking at this summer, players that he's been looking at for years. And I think if you look at what his main ability, I think he's one of the top 5 crossers off the ball in world football for me. And I think that would, massively complement Giroud up front. I think in the last 3 seasons, he's averaged, I think he had 15, 18 and 15 assists. And goals, he usually gets between 12 to 15 goals a season. So I think he'd be an absolutely fantastic addition to our side, and he'd probably give us that natural width which we've been crying out for as well in recent years since we lost Pires and Lundberg.
And what place in the squad can you see him filling? I mean, who is currently playing his position? Is he better than them? And
Sure.
Is it a strengthening signing for us?
In my opinion, massively. I think if we were to bring in both Ozil and Di Maria, it would give us that tactical. It would give us a situation where we could look to mix up our tactics a little bit. So I'd probably look to have Giroud as your main man up front. And I think if we're not going to sign that kind of number 10 striker, which we've been wanting all summer, like a Suarez or a Rooney, it would allow you to either play Theo in just behind off of Giroud with Di Maria to the right. Or you could also, look. I mean, Theo hasn't been in the best form for me lately, so I think it'd obviously give Theo a lot of impetus as well. And maybe consider about having Cafalla on the left, Ozil down the middle, Di Maria down the right, just with Giroud up top. So I think, if we wanted to look at a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1, I think he could, quite happily complement that side and give us much needed competition for the wide places.
Yeah. And Dean, I know that you know about some breaking news that has just been released on Twitter by a journalist. Can you explain to us a little bit more about that?
Right. We're talking about Kike stuff, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Which is, on Kike's thing, saying that Carlo Ancelotti has given his final okay for Mesut to exit Real Madrid, Mesut Ozil, and go to the Arsenal. It does say here, though, that Arsenal, who were initially interested in Di Maria, which is an interesting one. Yeah, it's interesting because obviously we're talking about, Di Maria, what he would bring to the squad if we sign him, etc. There are reports that we're looking for both, but he's now saying that we were interested.
Yeah. So do you think that there's a chance that we could sign both, or do you think that the signing of Ozil will bring the end to the Di Maria interest?
It's an interesting one, but they are completely different positions. Obviously, I think the only reason that it would bring an end to it is obviously if Ancelotti puts his final stamp on keeping Angel Di Maria. It was reported earlier on Twitter as well that Perez asked Ancelotti who would you rather keep here, Mesut Ozil or Di Maria? And he said Di Maria. But I do think that, as Sky Sports have said, that the club Arsenal are trying their hardest to actually bring both of them in.
And Danny, we've not heard much from you so far on this one, so what do you make of it all?
I'm just listening to Sky Sports News right this very second. 8 hours, 52 minutes and 20 seconds to go. A loan fee of £3 million, I think they're talking about Demba Ba, is live outside. Looks like they're Arsenal. There's loads of Arsenal fans running around in yellow shirts. And there's someone in a Lexus trying to pull out, and they're having no luck. Bless them. That's you in the Lexus.
Scallywag.
Hello. Yeah. So look, I think that is a loan fee for Bar, who is interesting. Napoli and Valencia as well are offering Chelsea a 1.5 million loan fee for the Senegalese striker. Oh, so £1.5 million, definitely worth that for a year. I really like Angel Di Maria. I had him a lot on FIFA, but I'm rubbish at FIFA. I always had him as my right-sided player. Although he's a left footer, he's playing on the opposite side, much like Bobby Perez was a right footer but played on the left wing, which I always thought was a little bit weird, because it means they've got to cut in a little bit more. But he's got to be able to use his right foot as well if you're going to play on the right. He's 40 games for Argentina with 8 goals. Like Andrew was saying, his assists are really good. If you take into account all competitions last season, 17 assists and 9 goals. Season before that, 16 assists and 7 goals. And the season before that, 20 assists and 9 goals. I was surprised by the amount of money that Real Madrid paid for him. They paid Benfica in the region of £30 million for him. And so they're, unlike Ozil, they're not wanting to massively make a profit on the amount of money they paid for him, because Ozil they paid about 14 million for, and now they want 42. But it looks like Di Maria, they're only going to want about 30 or 40 for him. I say only, it's nice change. But I think what it might be a good idea is if someone gets down to the Seven Sisters Road and wait if you can see someone with a suitcase wedged full of £50 notes running from Arsenal to Spurs and saying, "Here, Real Madrid told you to give us this as part of the payment for these 2 players." That's the best way to find out if we're going to get any of these players. But Di Maria is going to be a fantastic buy. Not as good as Ozil, but I still love him.
Andrew, can you tell us any more on Demba Ba or what the clauses in any kind of loan deal might mean?
I mean, from what I was reading on Sky Sports earlier, they were saying that, this morning actually, they were saying that about 30 clubs have inquired in for Demba Ba. And I mean, I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday who's a season ticket holder at Leverkusen, and he, obviously I know he's not Hoffenheim, but he was saying when he was in Germany, it was a very similar theme to last year. He was always asking the club for more money. His agent's apparently quite greedy. I think when he moved to Chelsea from Newcastle, there was a rumour that his agent was demanding about £4 to £5 million agent fees, which is why Arsene Wenger turned his nose up. So I think I'm suspicious of this loan signing, what kind of agency fees we'd pay. I mean, as a player, I think if we go in for Demba Ba, it's absolutely imperative that we sign Di Maria as well. I think at the start of the summer, the expectation was set, extremely high by Arsenal. We went in for people like Suarez and for Rooney, natural number 10s who can play off of Giroud. So I think if we're going to bring in someone like Demba Ba, he's not necessarily going to improve the starting 11, is he? He's probably going to be kind of the substitute to Giroud. So I think that's why it's imperative that if we bring him in, we also have to bring in someone like Di Maria, who's going to, immediately improve that 11 and give us that creativity we need, which we're probably not going to get if we don't sign Suarez or Rooney. But yeah, as I say, in terms of the clauses, I'm not 100% sure, but I know from speaking to people historically, his agent's always been pretty greedy, and I think if we do sign him, it's probably going to cost us a small amount of money to pay off his agent. But as Danny says, for a year's long loan, ultimately it might be worth it to have someone on the bench who's better than Bentner.
But is it not? Well, I mean, we've been sold all the way through this transfer window. I mean, I'll start off right back at the start with Stefan Jovetic. We then moved on to Higuain. There was then a lot of Rooney talk. We switched attentions to Suarez. And it seems to me like Ba is a little bit of a way down the list in calibre that we've been talking about. I mean, Dean, for you, is he good enough? I mean, should we be going for someone that's maybe a little bit more prolific in front of goal?
I do think so. I'm not sure why at this moment now Wenger's... I mean, I know he is an admirer of Demba Ba, but I'm not sure why he's looking now on deadline day to loan Ba when it's been clear for months and months we've been looking at getting someone in like Rooney. We've made bids for Suarez. Prolific strikers like that. And I mean, I'm not saying he's not, but just like Andrew said, I mean, I don't think he would be a step up. I don't think he would be an upgrade to Giroud, especially not with the form Giroud's actually looking like he's on now. Now, with someone like Ozil behind Giroud, I can see him netting God knows how many goals this season, and it might be a bit optimistic. But why would you bring someone in who, in January alone, I'm not sure if he was posturing or just trying to sort of make excuses. But Wenger himself said, he was going to get Bar, but he's too similar to Olivier Giroud. So why would he go now, bringing in? I'm confused by it, to be fair, and I do think there's plenty of other better strikers as good as he is that we could be looking at on this deadline day.
Yeah.
So
every time, all the way through this podcast, at the end, we've always asked what two players would do it for you in this window, or what two players would you most like to see, Andrew?
I think if we're not going to get Di Maria, I'd like to see El Shaarawy from AC Milan, because I think he's a very creative striker and he could play off of Giroud if needed. And I'd also quite like Andrea Ranocchia as well from, sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but the big centre-back from Inter Milan. I think he would give us a fantastic option at the back.
Wonderful. And Dean?
Before I give you my two, can I just mention something that's just come across my timeline in regards to the best striker in the world, Nicholas Bentner? It's actually come from Marca, so I don't know how legit, but according to them, Arsenal have terminated Bentner's contract.
Oh, hello, cheeky.
So I just thought I'd get that out there. Di Maria would have been obviously the absolute, and that's there. I would have said Juan Mata if Ozil wasn't so close. Secondly, Suarez, but we know it's not probably going to happen.
Okay, right. So, last but not least, thank you very much for coming on, guys. It's much appreciated.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, man.
That's wonderful. Right, so that was your next instalment of the Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Join us in an hour for much, much more, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, a transfer deadline day special. This is part 4 of the podcast, and joining me today I have, first of all, Lord Hillwood is back with us. Hello, mate.
There. Hello, mate. I'm sitting here suffering from North London Derby hangover, antibiotics, in a pub full of Polish workers at the moment who are on a break, so I can record this.
And hopefully they're all excited about the news that Mesut Ozil is about to join Arsenal.
Well, I think they're more excited about not having to sand any more floors down, actually, at the moment. But the problem is we are in a bar, and keeping them away from the alcohol is a major problem.
Right. Moving on to our next guest on this short podcast. You might know him from Twitter as Ollie Price Bates.
Hello.
Hello, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you. My computer's just blown up from all the refreshing today and searching the web. I think it's almost had enough. We've still got no time to go.
Yeah, it's all gone a bit mental. I know our website's gone a bit Pete Tong, but bear with us and you will listen to all of these podcasts. Our final guest today is ex-Arsenal player Adrian Clarke. Hello.
Hello, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. Are you excited about all the news surrounding Arsenal today?
Of course I am. Yeah, no, very, very exciting news. Just waiting for the first big one to be rubber stamped, really, and then we can all start to breathe a little bit easier. But yeah, it's been a long window, hasn't it? But hopefully there'll be a happy ending.
Yeah, it's quite amazing how I think we've been waiting around for the last 2 months and nothing's happened. There's been various names, well, I say various names mentioned. There's been about 3 sides of A4 papers, list of names mentioned on who could be joining Arsenal. We'll kick off this podcast with a bit of breaking news that's coming out as we speak, which is Arsenal are willing to meet the release clause of Porto's, is it Eloquin Mangala? And that's 38 million. So, Mr. Hillwood, what do you make on that one?
Well, it's a complete one out of the blue. That I mean, Arsenal does like a bit of a little surprise, but yeah, and that's quite a hefty fee to pay as well.
and I understand he's a defensive minder, whether it's a midfielder or a defender. So it is what the fans are actually crying out for. Do you know anything about him, Adrian?
Well, I saw him in the Emirates Cup. He impressed me. He played centre half for Porto there, and he was good. I also know that Chelsea, Manchester United have been interested in him. He's very, very highly rated. He's a beast. He's a big, solid centre back. He can play. He can pass the ball, and I think he's got a lot of potential. I think he's fairly young still, in his early 20s.
22.
So yeah. I mean, it is a lot of money to pay, but Arsenal say they've got the money, don't they? So let's not worry too much about that. He would be a major asset. And I think it's really important that Arsenal do strengthen in the centre-back area. I think Koscielny and Mertesacker, great partnership. It's got lots of chemistry. Vermaelen's still there. He's a great backup. But you do need 4 top-class centre-backs to be a serious player in the Premier League and the Champions League. And this guy would be challenging all of those 3 for a starting place. He's very, very good.
And for anybody else that might be listening to this podcast that may know nothing about him, Ollie, is there anything you think that you can add to that?
I agree what Adrian was saying about the 4 centre-backs needed, but I personally can't see this one happening, mainly because of the fee and the fact that he'd have to be, I don't think he'd come in and take Koscielny or Mertesacker's place. And I can't see Vermaelen being happy going further down the pecking order. So I can't see a 30 million defender being signed to be a backup player, personally. He is a good player. He's got a lot of interest from Man United and all around Europe. But I can't see it happening, personally.
And Danny, I know you're normally the man with the stats, and I can imagine that you're probably sat there looking at Wikipedia right now, reading through it. So do you have any stats on this man?
I know all of this from my own personal memory. He joined Porto from Standard Liège in August 2011 for about £5 million. I'm not reading that off of transfermarket.co.uk. He is 6'2". He's 22 years old. He's played 30 games and scored 4 goals for his time at Porto in the league. He's played 3 games for France, 23 games for France at under 21 level. And then just looking at last season in the Portuguese First Division, 23 games, 4 goals, 2 assists. And overall last season, 39 games and 7 goals. Now, for someone who is I think it said that he is both-footed. Yeah, it says on Transfermarkt that he's a centre-back and he can play with either foot. But for someone who can play with either foot to have scored 7 goals in a season, that's not too bad. That's quite a Vermaelen-ish, because he likes to get up. But I don't think it's going to happen. You're not going to go paying. I mean, this transfer marketplace say they value him at about £13 million. And what did you say they've had the release clause met?
His release clause currently stands at £38 million.
Gee, wow.
It's an ambitious one, isn't it?
That is not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, it's probably unlikely, isn't it? Let's face it. But if we were going to bring in a centre back, I don't think he would be the worst choice for sure.
How about we talk about the fact that in the last podcast, Dean said that he'd read on Marca that Bentner had his contract cancelled by Arsenal. Has anybody heard anything about that?
What's happened is basically he's got a year left, I think, on 55,000 a week, and any club that he's talked with this summer has basically said they're not going to pay more than 30,000, and Bentner's not willing to drop his wage at all. So I think what Arsenal are doing is paying the difference in how much his wage is going to drop, and paying that difference for the remaining year in one lump sum to Bentner to get him out.
Oh, so what? So that means to make him a free transfer, saying, here you go, you're only going to earn 30 grand a week, here's 20 grand a week times 52, here's the money, goodbye, don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So does that mean he's going to be freed up to go to Palace?
Yeah, I'll pretty much go for a free, and it's a negative that we're going to have to pay him, 20,000 a week for he's not going to be paying for us. But Arsenal see it, I think, as, if he doesn't go anywhere today, then we're going to be paying 55,000 a week for the next year.
So that's the lesser of two evils. What have you got to say about this, Steve?
The sooner he's gone, the better. I mean, he's been angling to see his contract out and go on a free, and pick up a big signing on fee, and I think that Arsenal doing the best thing is showing him the door, to be honest.
Adrian?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I think his time at the club's got to be at an end now. He's been messing around. He's wasting his career. He thinks he's far better than he actually is, and I think it'd be better for all concerned if he was moved on. The club wouldn't want to pay him off, so to speak. They wouldn't want to subsidise a move. But as you guys have said, it's the lesser of the two evils. It's not the first time this kind of things happen. It happens in football all of the time. Especially in the last year of the contract, they'll subsidise it. They'll pay people off to get off the books, and yeah, I don't know Nicholas personally, but I think he needs to leave, and Arsenal need to get rid of him as well. So fingers crossed that will happen.
But that will make 3 players this year that we've had terminated their contract. Denilson wanted, I think, 1.5 million. Andre Santos just said thank you very much, and he went for nothing. Yeah. And now Bentner is costing us more money, but.
Yeah, it happens, but you know, if you remember, cast your mind back to the Chelsea days with Winston Bogarde. He sat there on
Malouda last season.
He sat there on that big hefty wage and just said, just keep on paying me, and they had to. So yeah, you know, every footballer's different, but yeah, I think it's best for all concerned to have a part in the ways, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so. I wanted to touch on something that we've literally just spoken about on every other podcast, and just to gauge reaction. It looks like our first big in might be Mesut Ozil. So, like I said, I just wanted to gauge some reactions from all of you guys on what you think he might bring to the team. And I won't jinx it by saying that it's done if he comes in. Steve?
Well, the guy's going to bring a lorry load full of assists. He's got more assists than anybody else in any European league, including Messi. Guy's got great vision. He carves people up. We all saw how he's done it to England. He's done it to England under 21s when he was playing for the German youth team. Guy's a fantastic player and a game changer, and exactly the sort of player that Arsenal need to be signing if we get him.
Fantastic. And is that something that you'd go with as well, Ollie?
I think he's a brilliant signing, and I've read a lot today of people saying he's not what Arsenal need, especially from the big journalists. But I completely disagree personally. I think last year we had a lot of games where we struggled to break teams down, and I think having that extra creative presence will just get the best out of all the other players and really help us break those teams down that come in as part of the bus of the Emirates. And I also think the way we're playing at the moment with Rosicky behind the striker, he runs at the defence with pace as we break it with a counter-attack, and I think Ozil is just a better version of Rosicky, and I think it'll really suit us. It's an incredible signing.
It's also nice to see that earlier in the window that we were linked with Cabaye, and we placed a bid in for him, or 2 bids in for him, and it's nice to see that they've gone out, and for me, Ozil is on a different planet to Cabaye, I think. I couldn't see what Cabaye would bring to the team. However, for me, I can see Ozil, like Steve said, bringing an absolute shed load of assists to the team. Do you agree with that, Adrian?
Yeah, look, he's class, isn't he? He's in his prime. I think he's 24. So yeah, he's got some great years ahead of him. And look, you put him, Santi Cazorla, Theo Walcott in behind the main striker, whether it's Olivier Giroud or somebody else. And wow, you know, teams are not going to want to play against those guys. Yeah, I think I think as Ollie said, Thomas Rosicky is playing very well at the moment. I like him, but Ozil's he is a step above, and he would add even more in that position. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic addition. If it happens, I still won't believe it until I see that he's actually signed. But it does look good, and yeah, I'm extremely excited. I do think we do need another striker though, and I think that's important. But when you get you don't get the chance to sign these world class players at the top of their game very often. So I'm really pleased Arsenal are pushing the boat out for him.
And before we all get a little bit too depressed about having to get rid of the 3 players that I said we've had to pay to let go, how do you feel for Real Madrid, the fact that they, 4 years ago, they paid £50 million for Kaká, and today they've let him go to AC Milan, and from what I've read, they've let him go for free. What a loss is that?
It is, yeah. He did that. Yeah, not every transfer works out, does it? But I wouldn't write Kaká off yet.
No, I'd love him.
I don't think he's a busted flush, and there was talk of us even going in for him, and I was quite excited about that. But look, Ozil is in his prime, as I said. So you can't get much of a better signing than that. I do think we need a striker. I'd like to see a defender. I'd still like to see the goalkeeper. So hopefully there'll be 3 or 4 today. But Ozil will be the best start possible.
Right, and before we go, ladies and gentlemen, what 2 players would you like to have signed by the end of the window other than Ozil? And we'll start with Steve, so then Steve can go up and leave.
I'd like to sign Fellaini, and I'd like to sign a striker, and I'd like to sign Fellaini just to piss United off. Nothing else.
How about you, Ollie?
It's both are probably very unrealistic, but Lars Bender in the middle of midfield, one of my favourite players I'd love to see come late on, and big name striker Wayne Rooney.
Wow, that would be a large old chunk of money. Adrian, finally, what do you think?
Yeah, well, of the names that have been linked, look, I'd take Rooney or Benzema. I think we do need a stellar name up front. Olivier's playing brilliantly, but we do need more strength up there. So either of those 2 would do nicely. And look, I'd take Mangala. I think he'll prove to be worth the money. So I'll keep my fingers crossed on that one.
Oh, that's lovely. Right then, Gimli, wrap it up, sir.
Right, I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us and giving us the time on this day. Very much appreciated, and we hope to hear from all of you at some point in the future as well, and come on a main podcast. But for now, that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, or at least part 4 of it. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in an hour. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland Deadline Day special. Part 5 of our podcast sees Geoff Arsenal back with us. Hello, Geoff.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're well.
Yeah, and to you. And our second guest joining us today, and the first time he's been on this podcast and a Bergkamp Wonderland in general, I believe, it's Michael Price from You Are My Arsenal. Hello, Michael.
I am well, good sir. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. Of course, Danny is still with us, pushing the buttons, doing the editing, and making sure that you listen to each edition of this podcast. We'll start this opening hour with the news that build our reporting. Ozil has passed a medical. Michael, what do you think about that?
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about this. I've seen a lot of people say he's not really someone we need, but you know what? He is absolutely a player we need because he's a world-class player and he has the ability to change a game on a dime, which is something that we're lacking. And, you know, I have, pardon the vulgarity here, but wet dreams just thinking about the connection of Cazorla, Özil and Walcott just venturing forward with, you know, and giving service wherever needed. It's just gonna. I'm thrilled by it. It is definitely a signing of, as our manager would say, top quality.
And Geoff, are you still excited about it? Have you heard anything more about Ozil's possible arrival?
No, I think it's more or less nailed on now, though, mate. To be honest with you, just I think there'll be an announcement within the next few hours. You know, Arsenal, they don't rush things, do they? But I think he's a fantastic sign. I think he's you know, it'll work wonders for us. And he's a marquee signing that we've all wanted for a long while, and hopefully we can get it over the line and get the job done. And it'd be great to see him in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, I think in the back of all Arsenal fans' minds at the moment is what happened to Tottenham with Willian and Chelsea pipping them at the post, even though he had his medical. So we'll stay close with it. We'll keep reporting every podcast what's happening until it's done, if it happens. And Danny, have you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, I was just looking through the Arsenal news feed, and someone has put up a picture, allegedly, from the Arsenal club shop of a yellow Arsenal away shirt with Ozil 11 on there, which is one of the numbers that is available. I know for Real Madrid, did he wear number 10? And I think number 8 or 10 for Germany. So that just kind of signifies the position he's going to play in. But it could just be anybody taking that picture. But hopefully he will be a number 11.
It could have been a fan just when I first saw that. I saw the same picture when I first saw it. I thought, oh God, somebody has jumped the gun and his deal is ruined. But he also used to wear, I think at one point in his Madrid career, he wore number 23. So.
I vaguely remember that.
Be interesting to see what happens though, because obviously we're going to need to unveil him. He's with Germany. Well, if his medical's been completed, he was maybe going to join up with the Germany squad because they've got a World Cup game, haven't they, this week? So it'd be interesting to see whether he jumps on a plane quickly, comes over to London, we unveil him, and then he goes back, or will they wait and do it after the international?
Well, remember,
would they not just? Oh, sorry, Michael.
Remember when Podolski signed? When Podolski first signed, and the announcement was, we were waiting for the announcement. He was actually on duty with the German national team. Or it may have been No, it wasn't Mertesacker. It was Podolski. He was on duty with the German national team and was allowed to fly over to London to do whatever it was that he was supposed to do. Yogi Love gave him some time to go do that. So I don't know whether that will be the case, but obviously. I don't know when their first international match is. It's Saturday for them as well. So it could very well happen. But, hey, look, as long as they just announce the deal, I don't care whether there's a picture of him in an Arsenal shirt or not. I just, just get it signed and get it done.
I would just like to see him up there holding up an Arsenal shirt with Ozil on the back. I'm sure they could do that from Germany, couldn't they? Just release a picture of him in the shirt.
Well, his old Werder Bremen teammate and German international teammate could have easily taken a shirt with him on the trip. Per Mertesacker,
Yeah,
very true, very true.
There's no more news on Draxler, who a lot of people were saying that when Geoff was saying about the £40 million bid that it was Draxler, but I read a report saying that he's staying at Schalke now.
Yeah, as far as I know, I knew that from a couple of days ago now, unfortunately. There was a massive interest, but then Schalke didn't really want to let him go, and the player, he was not reluctant. He's still 19, and they think they'll get another year out of him, and maybe they can make the 50 or 60 million that they prefer for him rather than a 40 or 45 million £,
Yeah, and he's only ever scored one goal.
Apart from Ozil, what other names are we hearing floating about, Michael?
Well, obviously there's the Viviano loan deal. It looks like coming out of Italy, so he's Palermo's number 2, and he's being made available because of Palermo's relegation to Serie B. That seems to also be one that is eminent in terms. The word was that he came in yesterday for his medical, and that has all been completed, but. And if people are unfamiliar with him, he's 27 years old. He was the backup, and I'm not sure if he still is because he did suffer a rather bad injury. He was the Italian international backup to Buffon for a while, and that's got to suck because frankly that man just never gets out of goal. There's that deal, and then obviously the other deals that are kind of being talked about, and I'm sure Geoff has some new maybe something on some of these. There's obviously the report on Demba Ba. There's obviously Angel Di Maria, which is the one deal that between Mesut Ozil and Angel Di Maria. I just love that. But then there's one that I just saw, and it just, again, I'm not sure where it's coming from. I know that the Mirror had it yesterday, but there's a young Ecuadorian forward by the name of Jefferson Montero. He plays midfielder for the Ecuadorian national team, but he plays out on the wing for his club. I'm going to butcher this name, so forgive me. Monarcas Morelia, I think is the name of it. He wears the number 10 shirt as a forward. He's about 5'8", rather small, kind of fits that, one of the reasons why this does kind of seem likely is he kind of fits the prototypical kind of Arsene Wenger kind of signing, small, quick, that kind of stuff.
I'm just looking at him now. He reminds me of a shorter Eduardo.
Good, yeah, good kind of example.
Yeah, he's just looking on Wikipedia. 27 games for Ecuador, 6 goals, and his current side, Moriela, or however you say it, 9 goals in 44 games. But he spent a lot of time at Villarreal in Spain, and he's spent time on loan at Levante and Real Betis. Well, Real Betis 1 goal in 32 games.
Yeah,
that doesn't look too good.
But he also had 19 goals for Independiente and 10 goals for Villarreal B. So I don't know.
He's still quite young, but it looks like he's quick. He has that quick look about him.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's not someone I've ever heard of.
Nor I.
I apologise if you can hear that noise in the background. That is the BT man drilling a hole in my wall for the phone line. Hopefully, it's all live, people. It's deadline day and it's completely live. Fuck ups and all.
Have you asked him what team he supports?
I haven't yet. I'm going to make him another cup of coffee in a minute. If he said Tottenham, then I'm spitting in it.
Right, so how long have we been doing this for? Is it about 10, 11 minutes? I can never remember. We're trying to keep it to about 15.
Yeah, we've been doing this for about 12 minutes.
Ah, right. So we usually end this by asking everybody, other than Ozil, what 2 players would you love to see the club sign by the end of the day? We've already done Geoff. Do you want to go again, Geoff, or do you want to stick with the ones you picked earlier?
Stick with the ones I picked earlier. I've got a little bit of news. The Denver Bar is edging closer. It seems like because what was scuppering it earlier on, West Brom was interested in buying him. It looks like they've dropped out of it now. So it looks like there might be a loan deal with Arsenal they wanted £3 million for a loan fee. It looks like Arsenal wanted to give £1.5 million.
But there again, they only paid $7 million for him, so I wouldn't be surprised if they said for $5 million you can have him. I'd pay the extra few quid.
Yeah, well, I don't think they want to buy him, Arsenal. I think they're looking for bigger in the winter maybe.
Yeah, I think, and I do. Some news out of Italy is that Napoli is also, and this makes sense given Benitez's past with him. That Napoli are interested in him as well. So I don't know whether that's for a loan or whatever. But
it said on Sky Sports News that Chelsea would rather him go to West Ham or Napoli.
Yeah.
What surprise?
Well, yeah, surprised they would actually let it go to Benitez since nobody there seems to like him.
Already? You mean at Chelsea or Napoli?
At Chelsea.
Yeah, nobody likes him.
So, for me, I think it's got to be. I'd love to see the Di Maria job done, but I think that's probably he is an Ancelotti. Ancelotti likes him, and rumor is that when Arsenal came in for Di Maria, Ancelotti said no, but how about Ozil? I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but there's that. I'm not sure about Demba Ba. I mean, we need another forward, another striker. So if that's the deal we get, that's the deal we get. And I can't remember the guy the forward that everybody was talking about that I checked up on, and I can't remember if he was from Porto or Atletico Madrid. There's a couple forwards out there. Ba, I worry just about Ba's knees. I just worry about that. So I think it's got to be Angel Di Maria, and I frankly, if that were it for this window, I'd probably be okay at this point.
Oh, anything else we need to go over, Mr. Gimli?
I think that's pretty much covered it all in some kind of depth. Who have we got on for the next podcast?
Oh, you keep springing this on me, but luckily, future shows, here we go. 5 p.m, we've got John, the angry Venezuelan. We've got Legrove. And we've got Poznan in my pants.
Brilliant, that'd be good.
Not my personal pants before rumours start, but in his own pants.
I know that's going to be a very, very good one.
Yeah, maybe we
John's
should use this opportunity to try and nail Michael down to say that he will come and be on a proper podcast with us because he's an absolute genius at these. And if anybody hasn't already listened to the Yamacast that he did with Geoff, I would say it is in one of my top 3 football podcasts I've ever heard. So you want to try and go, Michael, plug it.
Oh, well, we come out every week. We'll be out either tomorrow or Wednesday with our transfer window wrap up, and I do have a special guest lined up. I am sworn to secrecy because it may not happen if everything goes really positive for us today. Let me put it that way. So I may have to struggle to find another guest, at which point I may be calling Geoff and saying, "Hey, come on back."
Frank Kroenke.
Oh God, no.
Or as Arsecast would say, Stan Cranky. But yeah, people, my 2 favourite podcasts, apart from the girls one, which I have to say, is the Tuesday Club and the Yamacast. So Michael, are you going to come back on and do a proper podcast with us?
Absolutely.
Oh, you lovely man.
We just have to make sure we just have to make sure the schedule's right. That's all.
Right, go on, Gimli, wrap this shit up.
Break out the hobnobs, we'll have Michael back in a fortnight.
Hey.
So, that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, part 5. Join us again in an hour. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's it. Nice and short and sweet. That's what I like to see.
Hello and welcome to our Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, and this is podcast 6 on our Deadline Day special. Joining me in, well, I would say the studio, but on the line, first of all, his regular panellist is John, our angry Venezuelan. Hello, John.
Hello, fellas. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm feeling better than what I did do, say, 24 hours ago.
You spent some fucking money.
Yes, finally. Right, next joining me is very popular. We did a podcast with him a couple of months back, but unfortunately it failed to record, and it's probably one of the best we did. But back by popular demand, it's LeGrove, or as we know him, Pedro. Hello, mate.
Hello. How's it going?
Not too bad, and how are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good. Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful. No, it's our pleasure. And finally, it's a blogging trio for you on this show. We have joining us, it's Poznan in My Pants, who's a very good blogger who I always read his blogs, and it's always very good. Hello, mate.
Hi, everybody. Delighted to be on.
And it's a pleasure to have you. We'll kick off at the start of this hour by releasing this story that I think it's the Daily Mail have gone with, and that's that Javier Pastor might be coming on a loan. So we'll go straight over to Pedro. What's your thoughts on this?
I think we're going to get a lot of this over the next few hours. I think clubs like PSG and your Madrids and your Barcelonas have got to shift players off their wage bill that aren't going to play this season. So I'm guessing that's either an agent putting that story into the Daily Mail, or Arsenal are just fishing around for a better option than Bar. Even though it doesn't really make sense to me, I'm not quite sure I'd have him as a striker, and I'm not sure he'd be as effective as Bar would be straight away. But I think expect a load of these stories to come out as agents try and shift on names over the next few hours.
And Mr. P.I.M.P, what do you make on this?
I agree with Pedro, and I when I look back on other windows, there's lots of names flying around in the last few hours that Arsenal likes to tire kick, or agents like to put names out. But when you look back at it afterwards, you say to yourself, I'm not sure why there was all that buzz about it, because really, if you look at Arsenal's pattern, I can see us going for Ba, and I could see us getting a young surprise centre-back development guy for the future. But Arsene said 17 to 18 is his perfect number for his ideal squad. Last year we used 21 players, but 2 of those were Arshavin and Gervinho, so you could roll them into one. We used 2 left full backs with Nacho and Santos over the year, so you could roll them into one. So last year we used 19 players. We've 17 outfield players on the books at the moment. If we add Ozil, that'd be 18. We're already at the top of his maximum number for an ideal squad, but we may well get one more for maybe a centre back, and that's not counting, say, Yaya Sanogo, so that'd put you at your 19-20 number. So I agree, Ba sounds like the right second striker, and I'll be surprised, really, even with all the names flying around, we do much more.
And John, what's all your thoughts on this? Because I know you're over in Spain at the moment, so you might be seeing things differently to what we are in the UK. How's it being reported over there?
Well, it was always a matter of, Di Maria being the lead man coming out of Madrid. Obviously, things shifted in the last week with, a couple of games and some certain, confrontations that occurred. So Ozil ended up being the name, out of the fold. But as far as seeing anybody else from Madrid or seeing something, unless it's a bargain deal for a youth player, I agree with the other panelists that I don't think we're in for anybody else besides Ba. If the Ba situation doesn't come to fruition, maybe another striker out there. But I agree that Pastore doesn't make any sense, given that we need an out-and-out striker.
And I'm hearing reports that are coming through on Sky Sports News at the moment that the announcement for Ozil might come through at about 6 o'clock, and that's Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, for anyone listening to this in any other countries. And that's his official announcement, whether that be him in an Arsenal shirt, any pictures or whatnot, or just the announcement that he's actually signed. But either way, it's welcome news. I think you'd all agree.
It's beyond exciting. It's just unbelievable. It's kind of like Cesc, but with no baggage.
Exactly.
All the excitement aside, it is amazing. We've stepped up to the mark. Arsene Wenger is now accountable because he has signed a big name player for once. But I think when the excitement subsides, I think if somebody said to you at the start of the summer, we'd sign Ozil and Ibrahim Ba and Flamini, I think you'd look at that and go, how did that answer some of our issues? I don't know whether like where's that? Flamini can be the holding midfielder. I don't know. I just like a 45 million pound creative midfielder, and it's brilliant. That's the best signing of the summer, but I don't know. Like there's something that's just going. How does this kick us on?
But surely
do you know what I mean?
But I think it gives us options in every single position. You can play Ozil in the middle and play Cazorla out on the left. To spell Ozil, you can bring Cazorla in the middle, play Oxlade-Chamberlain on the left. You can now have Jack play more of a box-to-box instead of playing up front. I mean, it gives us so much flexibility in all areas. And Flamini, if you look at it, he can back up both fullbacks, and that means that, and I'm looking completely from how Arsene Wenger is looking at it, which is Flamini can play a holding role, or he can back up both fullback positions, which allows Sanya to, if something occurs to one of my center backs, Sanya can play center back, and Flamini can come in and spell him at fullback position. I think he's looking at options that gives us flexibility in all areas, more so than specific positions.
I guess why he's done it. Like I can see why he's done it, because he couldn't get a Suarez, but I just feel like a Suarez or a Benzema would have shifted the needle of the squad a little bit further over. Like Ozil, fantastic, but like Cazorla does bring that. Like, Ozil now brings us flexibility, fantastic, brilliant. And I'm not being ungrateful here. I'm just something in my head's just not. I can't get my head around it as much as everyone else seems to be able to.
What we really lacked last year, we made a lot of mistakes, but once we tidied that up, we had a very good defence, very strong defensive midfield. Just in terms of not only stats, but in terms of results, especially over that last period of the season when we cracked the code, what we did not have was creativity. And
I don't know whether I'd agree with that. I think that
everybody around him better.
We lacked like Arteta couldn't last 3 games. Like couldn't play 3 games of the week, and then we fatigued. We were in trouble. I think we had plenty of creativity. Cazorla had plenty of assists. Podolski did. Giroud did. I don't think creativity was the problem. I think it was having a box-to-box midfielder that can cover lots of ground, kind of like Flamini. But I just wonder whether he looked fantastic the other day. I just wonder whether we needed an additional body like that in there, like a Cabaye, somebody who can cover that ground. But hopefully Flamini will be able to do it.
But the archetypal game that we struggled with last year was the Norwiches, where they put 2 banks of 4 against us, and we just could not break them down. That was the game we feared all last year. It wasn't somebody who came at us. It wasn't somebody who wanted to play. Where we struggled for creativity was when they had 8 to 10 players behind the ball.
But you're also forgetting that Ozil also brings you goals. He's not only going to bring you creativity.
Didn't he score 9? He scored 9.
Yeah, he scored 9, and he scored, I think he was like 6 or 7 the year before. But then he had 16 assists last year, 20 the year before. So he assists, he scores goals. He can do a variety of things that I would rather have a team going forward is capable of scoring from everywhere than what we've had, a lot of last year, which was,
But we had that last year, didn't we? We scored the same amount of goals without a Robin van Persie. I just
exactly,
thought that,
but if you
taking
notice,
it to the next level this year was signing a Benzema, a Suarez, or a Rooney, and then you've got all that creativity. Like we've added depth to creativity rather than adding goals per se. But brilliant signing. Don't get me wrong. I just just doesn't make as much sense to me as signing Suarez. But if you can't get Suarez, then next best thing, sign a great player. So next summer or next January, when a striker will come onto the market, then we're ready to pounce. And then we've kind of, we won't challenge this year for the league, but maybe next year with an Ozil and all of those other players there. We can. So 2-year project, which is.
But this year we can maybe make a run in the cups.
Yeah, and this year, what signing Ozil and Demba Ba will do for us, and Flamini, now looking at how well he came on, is it kind of secures fourth. Like if he hadn't signed an Ozil or Ba and we got in with that squad for the whole season, just purely on numbers, I don't think we would have been able to make the final run in. But it's just put us above Liverpool and Spurs now, because we've got the numbers, which is exciting and reassuring. It's just a shame.
But what
to be
about?
honest, I couldn't disagree more, though, Pedro. I mean, if I remember last year, you and many others, and I agreed with you, pointed out that we scored lots of goals, but we scored them against weak teams. And once you took those 4 or 5 results of 5 goals and 7 goals out, we didn't score a lot of goals. You look at that run in, we scored 1, we scored 2, we didn't concede any. You look at, if you divide the season into when we actually started winning versus the rest of the season, we didn't have that much creativity. It was what everybody complained. We won, it was functional, but it was not exciting. It wasn't great football. We did have a creativity problem. We don't now. That's going to open up our attack. It's going to protect our defense because our possession is going to be better. Teams are going to be afraid of us. And we're not going to be the same level of fear when we see 8 or 10 players behind the ball.
But then you also got to remember Podolski's coming back. What's going to be Podolski's role? Is he going to play up top? Is he going to play on the wing? And now that we have an Ozil, there's going to be, a lot of competitions for a small amount of positions, and I think that's only going to make everybody better.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that Ozil. Sorry.
I'll cut this off, fellas, because we are only 15 minutes. But before we go, as we've done with everybody today, if I could just ask you, Ozil aside, who were the 2 players that you'd most like to see come in today? And we'll start with John.
I'd like to see us, before we sign off on this ball deal, make a run at Rooney one last time. Make a run at, Suarez one last time. If that doesn't work out, then you settle for Ba. As far as another, I would like to see a center back. Williams, somebody that's EPL proven.
I would have gone for a Begovic, and a Rooney.
Okay, and finally P.I.M.P.
I think I'd go with Ba. I think, ironically, Wenger said he was the same kind of striker as Giroud. Never agreed with that. And a young centre back. And then I think we're maxed out by Wenger's metrics.
Okay, fantastic. So that was podcast number 6 of the Bergkamp Wonderland Deadline Day special. Thank you very much for listening. We're back in an hour, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast transfer deadline day special. This is number 7 of, I think it's about 10 or 11 podcasts that we'll be doing today. So let me introduce you to the guests for this one. First up, replacing Dave Hillier, who I'm sure will be on later. But with us now, we have ex-Arsenal man Jimmy Carter. Hello, mate.
Hello, good evening. How are we doing?
Not too bad, fella, and yourself?
Yeah, fantastic, especially after yesterday. What a fantastic day it was for the Arsenal. So really pleased, really had a good day today.
I think with the transfer news that's been filtering through to us today, on top of yesterday's result, I think you'll be hard pushed to find a Gooner that's not smiling from ear to ear. Anyway, next up, and moving on, our roving reporter live from the Emirates Stadium as we speak. It's BSM spokesman Mr. David O'Leary. Hello, mate.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. And can I only reiterate what Mr. Carter said there? Waking up this morning at 5:30 with a smile on my face, and for footballing reasons, I hasten to add.
It's all fun. It's so fantastic. So, can you tell us? And of course, Danny's with us, pushing the buttons and editing all this lot. Hello, Danny.
Hi, shipmates.
Hi,
I
good
thought you
evening.
said something else then. Okay, then. So we'll go straight over to David. Could you tell us what's happening at the Emirates now, then, Dave?
Yes, mate. There's the 3-4 camera crews here. Probably best part of 75, maybe 100 Arsenal fans. Sky have been filming on and off, and Geraint kept me informed, saying we were going to make an announcement at 6 o'clock, which I don't think has come. Reference Mr. Ozil, and the Sun. A TV version of the Sun turned up with a Champions League shirt with Ozil on the back, and everyone went mental, thinking it was legit. So we're all a bit in the dark.
So it's all very shady as down there, as you said earlier.
It is indeed. The sun is setting on Emirates Stadium. It is again very much like White Hart Lane for the shadows.
So hopefully we might be able to get you on later. If there's anything breaking down there, you can tell us what's going on.
Absolutely, mate. No problem at all.
And it won't be the breaking hearts of N17 that we'll be interested with.
No, indeed. Who cares?
That's no good for anybody.
No.
So we'll go over to Jimmy first.
Oh no, go to Dave first, because Jimmy's line is been a bit wonky again.
Okie dokie. Okay, I'll gauge your...
Oh no, Jimmy's back. Go to Jimmy.
Okay, we'll go to Jimmy then. You don't make this job easy,
It's like
do you,
tennis.
Danny? To Jimmy, to Dave, to Jimmy, to Dave, to Jimmy, to Dave. We'll go to Jimmy. Jimmy, what do you make of this Ozil signing?
I think it'd be a fantastic signing. I've been very, very impressed with Ozil. Obviously, I haven't seen him live, but whenever I've seen him on telly playing for Real Madrid and also Germany, he's looked absolutely fantastic, and he's one that I've really, really been impressed with over the last couple of years. Obviously, there's been a lot of anticipation, including frustration for the Arsenal supporters over the last 6 weeks or so. You know, a lot of players been mentioned and no one's actually come. So finally, to get the player of Ozil's calibre, I think it would be a fantastic signing for Arsenal Football Club.
Fantastic. What do you think he could bring to the team? Do you think it's just assists that he can bring to the team, or assists and goals?
I think all round, really. If you look at his ability, his assists, statistically, he does very, very well with assists, but he also can chip in with a fair amount of goals as well. I think his work rate is absolutely fantastic. He's technically gifted. So I think, obviously, Arsene Wenger's looked at him, and I think he was in for Ozil before he actually went to Real Madrid when he was at the German club. But he didn't quite get him. I think Real Madrid nipped in there quickly, and Arsene wasn't able to get him. So I think he's been on the radar for quite some time, and I think he'd be a fantastic addition to the squad.
And we understand that Demba Ba is close to signing to us. Geoff mentioned earlier that deal would cost us around £1.5 million, and it would see the Chelsea forward join us for a season on loan. Jimmy, what do you make of that one? Do you think that's a clever piece of business, or do you think Arsenal fans should be expecting a better, bigger name striker or a permanent transfer?
I think the loan move for Demba Ba would be good. I think obviously a big signing in Ozil would relieve a lot of the pressure on Arsene Wenger for sure. I think we are light up front. If you look at Giroud, obviously he worked his socks off yesterday. Done fantastic. Well, scored the winner. But Podolski is now injured. You've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who now is out for about 8 to 10 weeks. So we are definitely light up front. I don't know if Demba Ba is really a long-term signing, because I think his medical record's not fantastic, although his goal-scoring record is pretty good of late. But I think a loan move will probably suit everyone. I'd be happy for Demba Ba to come for a season. I just think it will relieve pressure on Olivier Giroud.
And David, is he the kind of...
Sounds like Dave's in bloody Monaco.
Yeah, sorry about that. The trains are flying past, aren't they? Sorry about that.
Oh,
is Demba Ba the right man for you, Dave, or after Suarez and Higuain, is he a step in the wrong direction?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a step in the wrong direction. He's a proven goal scorer, but he's obviously fallen out of favour with Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. It's difficult for him to get his first team place. He doesn't seem to really want to play with a striker there with Torres as well. So I think he'd come in and do a job for us. The odd spectacular goal he got up at Newcastle, was it? I think he scored. Yeah. I think he's got a bit of the unforeseen in him. So yeah, I think we'd give him a try. What's the season loan going to do? No harm at all.
No, exactly. And I think £1.5 million is actually very cheap If you remember, Liverpool got Nuri Sahin, and they paid something like 9 or 10 million for that, and he never even completed the loan anyway. So the question that I want to ask you guys on here tonight is, can we see any surprises come in, or can you see anything that we've not heard anything about, or any more players? Jimmy?
Speculation-wise, I'm not sure. I mean, it changes constantly. I'm sure there'll be some twists and turns from now until the next 4 or 5 hours, whatever's remaining on the in the transfer window there. But I'm sure if Ozil looks like a done deal, I'm sure that Arsene Wenger will be looking to maybe get 1 or 2 in before the deadline. But it may well go to the wire. But let's see. I hope so. I hope there's a couple more signings because we are very light in the squad.
And we hear cheering down with you, David. Is that Mr. Mesut Ozil being revealed yet?
Yeah, Simi's just got off the train at King's Cross and found his way up to Finsbury Park on the Underground. It's a fantastic system we run here in London. It's great. Sadly not. No, it's more Sky Sports News speculation and going live, which seems to rouse the crowd every time they go on air. It's a nice atmosphere down here, really. It's nice to be reporting on something positive after the last few months of doom and gloom, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think we've lost track of the swear words that we've used on this show in previous occasions regarding Arsenal's antics in the transfer market. I mean, can you see anyone else coming in today, David, other than Mesut Ozil?
Yeah, I think I can. I think, as Jimmy's alluded to there, the squad is light. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this mass wholesale clear-out we had, it needed doing, and it just seemed to be done in vain, really. There was no one seemingly coming in, and we got rid of 20-odd players. But it looks like there was method in the madness. So I think Ozil was coming in. If we get Barr on loan, there's talk of this, is it Palermo goalkeeper as well as a potential Palermo striker as well, I think. So I think we'll end up with 4 or 5, hopefully. Potentially there's 6 or 7 irons in the fire if the reporters are to be believed. So who knows? We might wake up tomorrow morning with Draxler on board as well, and maybe 1 or 2 other superstars, and I think we'd all be very happy with that.
So the thing I was looking at is if you'd have said to us 12 months ago, summer 2013, 23 players will leave the club, 3 of which will be paid to leave, because we're never sure about Andre Santos and whether he was paid to leave. 6 more will leave on a will leave out on loan. We'd have thought, oh, behave yourself. Nothing like that has happened since the end of the Invincibles, when I think 26 players or 22 players that season left the club, like the likes of Parler and Keown, I think, were amongst that lot. So it's just amazing. A question somebody sent in to us, who was at Gooner News, said, is this the start of us attracting world-class players again? What do you two think, Jimmy and Dave?
Quite possibly. I think the intention Ozil was to sign, which looks like he is, send a message out, a big message, I think, to all the big clubs and all the clubs around the world that Arsenal can compete. I mean, obviously there was a lot of speculation about the Puma deal and all the funds coming. It was common knowledge that Arsenal had all these these riches, these coffers really, that done them, not really done them a favour, because any player they've gone in for, all of a sudden, what was 15 million jumped up to 20 million, and that doesn't leave a very good taste in your mouth when you're looking to buy someone. So you can understand Arsene Wenger's frustration in many ways in the transfer market, because people just hike the price up, knowing that Arsenal, desperately want to spend some of this money. But I think, going back to your question there, I think it does send out a good message with the Ozil situation, and I'm sure other players will look at that. Other players that might be looking to go to other clubs will maybe think now Arsenal was a fantastic proposition to come to.
What do you think, Dave?
Just as a side issue, I could be wrong. There's a few people murmuring that Ozil's been announced. I don't know if you boys can check that whilst I'm on the phone.
No, nothing on Sky Sports News.
Oh, right. Well, maybe not then. I'm not sure. Usual Chinese whispers. But, yeah, I think to a certain extent we're the architects of our own downfall a lot of the time. Coming out saying we had all this money and we were going to do our business up front and early. And we just stalled. And Jimmy's right. Any player we're interested in, the money's naturally going to be jacked up. And I think Arsene alluded to it yesterday by saying, we will pay over the odds if we have to. But in terms of signing a player like Mesut Ozil, he's got to be one of the top 10 players in the world. So, the appeal and the draw is still there. It's a little bit like Van Persie going to Man United, dare I say that, and don't edit it out. I don't think United really needed a striker, but he was available, so they took him. arguably we don't need Ozil, but he's going to bring super quality, as Arsenal always alludes to. He's going to bring that to the team. So why shouldn't we go for him? If we're an ambitious team trying to win trophies, that's exactly what we should be doing.
And David, this is a question that I asked someone earlier on in the podcast. Do you think that Mesut Ozil is Arsene Wenger's Dennis Bergkamp moment?
Potentially, yeah. I actually said that at work this morning. I said it could be a bit of a Bergkamp signing. But what it does to us as a club and the fans is it just gives an absolutely amazing lift that, money can't buy, or it can in terms of it buys a player. But you can't, the atmosphere down here now is like a carnival. The atmosphere yesterday was like a carnival. If Ozil would have been playing yesterday, that place would have been absolutely bouncing. And, it's what we need to do. It's what the club have needed to do for quite some time. So, yeah, I would think it would be the Bergkamp moment for me.
And you, Jimmy, is it the Bergkamp moment for you?
I think obviously Dennis Bergkamp's an absolute legend. I think if Ozil does anywhere near as well as Bergkamp in his time at Arsenal, it'd be a fantastic achievement. But obviously time will tell on that. But just in respect of timing, obviously £42 million. It smashes the Arsenal transfer record by a long way. Expectations will be there for him. I mean, he'd be under. It doesn't seem like he'll buckle under any pressure. He's experienced lad, he's internationals, but he'll become with the price tag brings that little bit of pressure. So it'll be interesting to see. But it certainly is a good signing for sure.
Fantastic. And we'll end this then, as we've done on every other podcast, by asking our guests if you could pick two players, Mesut Ozil aside, to come in this evening. Who would it be? Jimmy, we'll go back to you again.
I could pick anyone to come in.
If you could pick, I suppose realistically we would have to say.
I was going to say Messi and Ronaldo, but I can't really. That's taking it to extremes, isn't it?
That would be good though.
I bet David Hillier come out of retirement.
He's too busy doing his MMA, chopping people up.
Speaking of which, he could be coming on at 7:00 with us.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, apart from the two top players, obviously I've just mentioned there. I mean. I don't know. I mean, we seem to be quite strong in midfield. You've got Cazorla, you've got Ramsey, you've got Wilshere doing a good job. You've got Arteta to come back. I think it'll be a striker. It needs to be a striker. I would like to have seen Suarez come. I have to say, I think he would have made a fantastic difference to the club. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. But, if he was ever to become available, I think, I know it was a lot of money, 40 million quid, but he is a top player and he will score you 20 goals a season. But also, his all-round play would have been fantastic as well, bringing other people into play. So I would have liked to see Suarez.
Okay. David?
Yeah, I'll probably agree with Jimmy. Although I had reservations about Suarez and the amount of baggage he comes with, he makes the Beckhams look like Ryanair travellers, really, doesn't he? But I think if you've got someone there who, stick the ball in front of him, he's going to run onto it and he's going to score a goal. He's as clinical a finisher in the Premier League and in the world that there is. So Suarez would certainly have been one, and then potentially another centre-half to play, alongside Koscielny and Mertesacker as deemed fit, rather than using Sanya, who is doing a sterling job in there, I may hasten to add. So it would be a striker and a centre-half for me.
Okay, fantastic. Danny, is there anything you'd like to add to that before we sign off?
No, we have got some more Twitter questions, so if you're listening to this, don't worry, we can't do them all in one go, so we've done a couple of them, and we've done the first two, so we've got some more to ask in the next podcast, so yeah, you can wrap this one up.
And who will be joining us on the next one quickly?
Oh, you always do this, and I'm never bloody looking, am I? Right, here we
go. You were the third time lucky. I thought you'd have got your arse in gear by now.
It's going to be Mr. Fucker Hanaj and the silky voice legend that is Raj Patel.
Ah, very nice.
Is there going to be a Mr. Arsblog or a Mr. Hillier with that as well?
There may well. Mr. Arsblog said if he's there, he will. And Dave Hillier will be arriving late, two-footed as usual.
Fantastic. So, that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, edition number 7 of the Deadline Day. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in about an hour. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland Transfer Deadline Day special, and this would be podcast number 8 in the collection. With me, I have FK, Raj Patel, Andrew from Arsblog, and Mr. David Hillier, and Danny as always. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi there.
We'll kick this straight off and we'll go straight to Dave. What do you make of Ozil, seeing as it's about to be announced?
Well, I think it'd be a great signing. Obviously, he's an attacking midfield player. We know we've got quite a few sort of midfielders, but he is much more of an advanced player. Very creative, and I think he'll be a fantastic addition to the side. And he brings that bit of quality, and he's got a bit of class about him. And I think the other players around will be thinking, the club are looking to really, progress and move on in this window.
Fantastic. And Andrew, is that something you would agree with? Can you see many more signings on the horizon, or do you think it's going to be a fairly bland day, but just with that cherry on the cake that is Mr. Ozil?
I hope there's a bit more, but obviously I think the signing of Ozil really makes a statement. This is the signing that everyone's been waiting for all summer. We were looking at Higuain, we were looking at Suarez, we're looking perhaps at Rooney, and you're looking for a player that will make people sit up and take notice of what Arsenal can do. And he's been given a hard time, and I've given Ivan Gazidis a hard time all summer about, we could do things that would excite you, and not much has been exciting. This is really exciting to get a player of that caliber in. He's 24 years of age. His best years are right in front of him, and he's going to have them at Arsenal. I think it's fantastic.
And you've said that your site has pretty much been down all day, as is ours. Lots of Arsenal fans clambering for information at the moment. Is now an exciting time to be an Arsenal fan, Raj?
It is. I mean, especially after yesterday. I mean, the kind of stuff that's been going on Twitter for the last 24 hours. I mean, it's been fantastic. There's been so much doom and gloom for the last 3 months that after yesterday's fantastic performance, everyone's kind of quite looking forward to the future. And me personally, if we can get these signings in today, we've got a real chance this season. We've got a real chance. I was so impressed with yesterday's game. It was fantastic.
Definitely. And FK, are you happy at the thought of seeing Santi Cazorla and Mesut Ozil in the same team?
Oh, I think I'm beginning to get sexually excited at the thought.
Great.
Ozil is quite an incredible player. It's the marquee signing that everybody's wanted. We've had to work so hard and plan so hard and sacrifice for so long that now is the time that we can finally get excited about an amazing player, an unbelievable player. And what a statement it sends out to the Premier League. And I think it's what the fans have kind of waited for and we kind of deserve. So if it goes through, which I'm hopeful it will, any minute now, we've been waiting all day. We were chatting before the podcast started. It's been such a frustrating day. It's been close and close and close. I don't know how much closer we can get, but really delighted. And to see him link up with the likes of Cazorla and Jack, I mean, that just it makes me wet. Fantastic.
And one of the main things that we've had rammed down our throats as Arsenal fans this summer is the fact that Cesc Fabregas might be coming back, and it's been a very much a case of will he or won't he. For me, I think, in fact, I don't even know. I think the jury's still out. I mean, Danny, are you happy on missing out on Fabregas but getting Ozil? I mean, which one would you have preferred out of those two?
I think Ozil will fit in lovely because he's got two of his German counterparts there, and plus we've got a couple of other young German players at the club. And I'd always be worried that Cesc is gonna get homesick and want to go home again. I think the German way of life and the English way of life are quite similar, just with disparity when it comes to the amount of sausages they consume, because they do love a sausage. I think he'll fit in brilliantly, and I know only in the season before Fabregas left, that first half of the season, he was banging in the goals and the assists. Then he got the hump and it all went dry. I think Ozil is consistent all the way through the season. You look at his stats for the last 3 seasons at Real Madrid, his stats have been fantastic all the way through the season. He's not a fair weather player. He doesn't mind getting stuck in, and he's exactly what we need. I think we're paying a little bit over the odds, but when you want a player like that, you've got no choice.
And Dave, do you think Mesut Ozil is an improvement on Fabregas?
Yeah, I think so. I think once you've done it at a club once, it's always really hard to come back and do it again, and to, because you've got that expectation to live up to. But Ozil will be coming with just that new challenge. Like we said, he's 24 years old. He is in his prime. He'll be coming with a new challenge. And to be honest, I wasn't really too happy about the sort of the Demba Ba stuff. I thought, he's not really he don't really fit into the Arsenal mould as in a player. We've seen him at Chelsea. He hasn't really got involved with their neat interplay. But as a finisher, if we could get him as well, just up there to stick up there, maybe when Giroud ain't playing, or play him instead of Giroud or alongside him, with Ozil supporting him and providing the ammunition. And that drive and ambition that he'll have as a new player coming to Arsenal. I think he will be a better signing than Fabregas. And money is not an issue at the moment. You've got to pay loads for top players, and he is a top player. He's in his prime. He's got everything ahead of him, and I just think it would be exciting if we could get him, Demba Ba. I know the Cabaye thing's not really happening at the moment. I'm not really too worried about him. We've got plenty of midfield players in there that can do the same job as him. I think as long as we can secure Ozil, maybe get Demba Ba, and on the back of obviously yesterday's performance, it just showed a great resilience and a great strength in the side, and it shows what commitment they've got. And also, German football and German footballers at the moment are sort of at the top of their game. They're really up there, and everybody's looking at them saying how strong they are, how efficient they are, what a good game they play. It's the right time to get him. So go all out to get him. That's what I say.
Definitely, and you touched on Demba Ba there, being the most likely name and a striking option coming into the club. Raj, is that for you the right move, or would you have preferred a Wayne Rooney?
Oh no, I would have given my right arm for Wayne Rooney, but it's too late for that. It's too late for any other big signings apart from Ozil, I reckon. I'll take Demba Ba because he is a goal scorer. He's a proven goal scorer.
Yeah, definitely.
We do need a striker, like Dave said, and it's a slight shame that we've left everything to a little bit late. We could have done with a centre back as well, but I'll take Ba. I mean, I've just read that West Ham are in for him as well, so there could be a little bit of a tussle, but hopefully he'll choose the right club, really. But I'll take him straight away, definitely.
And we'll go back over to you now, Andrew. Why do you think we leave all this till the last day of the window? I mean, it's been a very topsy-turvy, I would say up and down, but it hasn't really been up at all, has it? It's been mostly down from an Arsenal point of view. Why is it only get moving on the last day of the window?
I've got no idea. Genuinely, I don't. I think they've been trying to buy players all summer and just haven't been able to do it. And I think it's interesting now that at the last minute the focus has kind of changed a little bit, because all summer we've been looking at a big name striker, Rooney, Higuain, Suarez, and our inability to get that striker meant we've had to change tack a little bit. And I think what Arsene Wenger maybe is thinking of doing is bolstering the team in a different way by bringing in Ozil, who's got so much creativity that he might make strikers a little bit better, provide better ammunition, as David was saying. And I agree, if we can get Demba Ba in as well, I think he's a good option. We do need a second striker. Giroud put in a huge shift against Tottenham on Sunday. He can't do that for 50 games or 55 games. He needs help. So if we could get Ba in as well, I think that would be a reasonable return. Although, we've got the keeper in now. I wouldn't be too upset if we got a defender in. Another centre half would be nice before the window closes, but I'm not sure we'll see that.
No, I think it's going to be a case of, what kind of quality of defender can we get in, and is that player going to have the quality we need to improve Arsenal Football Club? FK, is that something you'd agree with, that we need a centre-back before the window closes tonight at 11?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was thinking today that it would be nice, even though Sanya's kind of moved across and he's made a kind of smooth transition to centre back, he's not been tested against top opposition just yet, and I think that leaves us a little bit short on the right hand side. I mean, someone like Mika Richards would be a decent kind of shout, in my opinion. Someone who's quite versatile, young, British core, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, defender would be useful. I think we're just a little bit short, but then Flamini was brought in, and I hear that he can sort of drift across into right back, left back, a little bit of cover. So not hugely crucial, but it would be great if we could add one. I agree with Raj. I think it maybe he's left it just a little bit too late to bring someone like that in.
And Danny, you said that we had some questions from the good people of Twitter who will be listening to this broadcast. Is there any chance of you saying a few that we could, or the panel could answer?
Yeah, we'll just give them one from someone who is at DJinInho. So that's DEJININHO. Simple one. Why hasn't Wenger brought in a defender when that's one of the areas of the club we're most in need of strengthening, especially at centre back?
And Dave, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really centre backs been available. I think regarding Micah Richards, I don't know if he can actually play the football that Arsenal want to play. It's all right saying he's a great defender and that, but on the ball, we depend on our fullbacks to actually be able to play football and get forward. We saw Jenkinson yesterday for 15 minutes. He sort of really got driven back by Chadley, and then all of a sudden he came into his own, pushed in, and his quality on the ball really affected Chadley, not his defensive ability. And I just don't think they've been available. And regarding why it's been left so late, I think that's down to agents. I think they're trying to maximise their gain out of it. Get as much for their player as they can, then their percentages go up. And I think it's just the nature of the beast at the moment. They leave it till as late as possible and wait till they can get as much money as possible for their player, and their player will take the last deal available that's worth the most money. And unfortunately, like I say, that's the nature of the beast. And I don't think there's defenders available. I think if we get Demba Ba, he can finish, and just get the players in that can provide him the ammunition for him to finish. That'll do it for me.
Okay, and Danny, I know we're going to wrap this up shortly by asking the panel who their two players other than Mesut Ozil they probably like to see come in this evening, if at all. Danny,
yeah,
over to you.
One little thing I'd like to say, if you Andrew's been kind enough to come and join us, along with Dave and Raj and everyone else all afternoon. If you want to have a little bit of a giggle and get the latest news, go to askblog.com, then have a look at the menu across the top, click on live blog, and then go and have a look at the sun. You've been doing this since, 7 o'clock this morning, Andrew?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And there is a picture there, which is my favourite, apart from your drawings, my favourite picture is Aidan McGee reporting from Tottenham. There's a kid in the background with a little piece of A4 paper with 1-1 at Newcastle written on it, mixed amongst the Spurs fans. So I missed that on the telly. But yeah, go on there, and you've done little drawings, links, videos, things like that. And then, to go there and have a look at it. You can, because this will go out live. People will be listening to this soon. So if you're listening to this, go and have a look at that. And then go and have a giggle, because it's funny. And
Exactly.
do you want to mention anything about Bentner before we go, Andrew?
Well, as it's a family show, I just hope that the Crystal Palace deal comes off. That would be good.
No, it's not a family show. Say it.
I don't
You want
mind
me to
saying
call
it.
him?
Go on. You say it, Dave.
Right, he's a knob. Get rid of him. Let him go wherever he wants. He's
They want me
costing
to
us
call him
money.
a
He's
cunt.
costing us money, and get rid of him.
They want me to call him a cunt, you know.
Was that a cunt or a cunt?
No, definitely a cunt.
Right, FK,
Fair play.
if we could have two players from you that you'd like to see signed this evening.
If not possible, a defender, I would like to see Arsenal just go out and have one last minute dash for someone like Rooney. Just go out there, offer 35 million pounds on the table. And if not, then Benteke.
Fantastic. And you, Raj?
I'll take Demba Ba, and I mean, I actually was thinking the same thing as FK just said, that we might just go in for one big one right at the last minute, see what happens. Bit of a Robinho job maybe, but I think we'll just get Ba in the end. I don't think we'll get any more today.
No. And Andrew?
Yeah, Demba Ba would be good. Beyond that, I don't know really who. Just a nice surprise would be good. That's all.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And finally, Dave.
Well, yeah, I've got to agree with the boys. Demba Ba, go all out to get Rooney. Offer him a stupid amount of money. Use that treasure chest. Use what we've got, because otherwise it's just going to sit there for till January, and by then we could have fluffed it. We could have not done what we needed to do. So just go all out to get him. Offer him the money he wants. He'd be a fantastic acquisition for the club.
Yeah.
And I know that every single player at Arsenal would, when he came there, would just be thinking, "Oh, we're going to do something this season."
Definitely. I think I can't remember who it was earlier, whether it was Geoff or Tim, said that money in the bank account doesn't get you clean sheets or goals. But we'll end that there then, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Cheers.
Yeah, no problem. Pleasure.
And I'll finish it up by saying that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast Deadline Day special, number 7. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.
Bonjour.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, a transfer deadline day special. This is podcast number 9, and joining me as always I have Danny.
Hello, I wasn't just telling the child to stop making fucking noise.
And her twatty friend.
I've got it on mute. I should be muting it again until they fucked off.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And joining me and Danny on this episode. First up, we have, you might know him as _armchair Gooner from Twitter, but we simply know him as James Raul Stokes. Hello, mate.
Hello, listeners. Hello, everybody out there.
And just for everybody that cares, can I have a curly whirly?
Curly whirly, my lover.
Lovely stuff. Next up, joining us as a debut on this podcast and here to give us his views, you'll know him on Twitter as Little Will AFC, but we know him as Will Sparks. Hello, Will.
Hello, Gim. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, and how are you?
I'm absolutely fine, thanks. Raring to go.
Fantastic. I can't wait to finally get cracking with this one, seeing as we've had a few technical issues. Right,
And
our last...
children as well.
Yeah, and children. Well, that sounds a little bit pervy, doesn't it?
Only in your mind, sweetness.
I've seen the blog you wrote about me, you freak. Joining
Hey,
us...
It's not true.
But it's not true.
It is. The people who read it ought know what you're really like in your personal life, sir.
I don't even
You're
know what that
filthy blater.
coprophobia means.
Coprophilia. Listeners, do not type that word into Google.
No, you'll get arrested. Right, our final guest on this podcast, and a guy that was due to come on a couple of weeks ago, but we've finally tagged him down, and he's with us tonight. It's Samuel J29060. Hello, Sam.
Hi guys, great to be on finally.
And that was a bit of a long introduction, so thank you for bearing with us.
That's okay, thanks.
Right, so first of all then, and we'll use this particular part of the podcast to talk about the starting options up front. I know that we're very close on a loan for Demba Ba, and an Italian newspaper has just released that he's passed a medical with Arsenal. Would anyone like to elaborate on that?
I will, if you want. They've just said, Chelsea have just released a statement saying they're not going to sell him to Arsenal.
Developments.
What was that? Someone just saying random words?
No, developments.
Oh.
Celery. I had to do it.
Oh, it's only number 9 and we're falling apart.
Yeah. It's only 8:30. He's gone tits up.
Oh, dear.
So, James.
Well, I was just having a browse of my Twitter timeline, and according to what I've just read, Demba Ba is most certainly a no-go. Because Chelsea don't want to sell him to a rival or loan him to a rival.
He's not Sonogo.
Unlike Sonogo, he's a no-go.
It's all very so-so.
Oh, dear. I'm going to leave that.
And Will, if you think that Demba Ba is off of the radar at the moment, who honestly do you think could come in and do a job for us at this moment in time? It being, like I said, 8:30.
The market at the moment is really saturated for strikers. I honestly don't know who Arsenal's got his eye on. There are a few that I would go for. When you're talking short term, you don't really know. We really don't know who to suggest, because short term implies that when you go for the player on a short term basis, it implies the player isn't fully committed to staying long term, putting all his effort in. So obviously I wouldn't have minded Nicolas Anelka before he went to West Brom. Obviously he has had the problems with his agent dying and such. I thought Ba was definitely the ideal shout. Arsene probably is an admirer. He's obviously proven in the Premier League, but right now, I don't want to annoy any Arsenal fans, but Jermaine Defoe, if we could nick him from them, that'd be great. Benteke, obviously he's under contract. I've honestly been sitting with pen and paper all day trying to pen a viable striking option for us, and I'm not getting much joy really. I mean, Edin Dzeko certainly seems he's settled up at City. And notice how I'm going for Premiership based here. I think with this, there's such short time to go. Now, I think it would make sense to go for a Premiership option. There's less logistics in the sense of getting the deal done, going from training ground to training ground, the language barriers and stuff like that. I don't know. I'd probably be interested to hear what who Sam, James, and Danny had on their mind, because I'm really struggling at this part of the window with Bar out the way to see any viable option.
We did initially have a bit of interest in Abel Hernandez, didn't we? It all seems to have gone very quiet now.
Yeah, it's tittle-tattle at the moment. I'm stuck. Maybe
I'm the same.
maybe we'll have to put up with Sonogo for a season and hope that he comes into fruition. But
I suppose it's the risk, isn't it, that when you leave it this late, and you're dealing with a rival as well, like Chelsea, maybe it's Chelsea's plan all along, leave it until the last few hours, then say no, then you leave Arsenal in a mess, in terms of bringing in a striker. Could have been the plan all along. It is Mourinho as well, so it's possible that that's the case. I'm just seeing now that apparently Arsenal are no longer interested in a striker, so it's hopefully we can change, we can go out there and get someone, but like you said, it's very difficult at this stage. It's a good shout, Benteke there, but I think, he's probably on international duty now as well, so you just wonder.
I mean, it really takes me back to, kind of December 2007, January 2008, where we had an array of strikers who were very, very good. We had Adebayor, Van Persie, Eduardo and Bentner as our 4 strikers. And we find ourselves 2 years later up at Stoke with Arshavin to play up front. And, it's kind of gone from that in the same way it went from 2010 to 2012, really. We did have Shamak, who was in quite a good vein of form. And obviously Van Persie came in and took the limelight. Now we're really left with one injury to our only, it seems to be, prolific striker, where it will have to be Sonogo or a false number 9 or something like that if you want to go into the tactics Bible. So as Sam said, leaving it this late is risky, but we seem to be getting Mesut Ozil, who's
hot.
He's more than shit hot. He's one of the most exceptional players in Europe, and the fact that Arsene Smile said it all yesterday. We knew something big was on the horizon, but we'll stay. I won't digress.
Just to interject momentarily, of the names that Will mentioned, nobody's actually said we could get a sneaky punt in there from Michu.
I was thinking Michu as well, and
he does add a different dimension to Shamak.
But I would say for the money that Swansea are actually offering him out at, I don't think that he's a viable option. I don't think
Agreed,
he's worth 25, 30 million. Nah, he's
Someone's
not.
heavy typing. Who's that?
I apologise.
You heavy typing shitbag.
I mean,
I've got one. When you finish, Gim, I've got someone that is a bit of a left field one.
But I was going to say, me and Danny were talking at the end of the last podcast, and I said to him that I thought that we could be in for one more big surprise of the day. I mean, every player has his value,
and, you also told me
we
not
have
underwear.
A shitload of money to burn.
You never know with Arsenal, though, for all intents and purposes. The delay in the Ozil announcement, you never know. It might be because we're working on another surprise out there somewhere.
You can't believe that he'd let the window shut without having another striker in. That, to me, again, seems a bit, I'd be not critical, but...
People may have a go at me, but if you look at Giroud, you look at the dimension of striker, he's very big, he's very physical, he's very good at getting under the ball and holding it up. What we don't have, and it may seem a black and white argument, is one of these, out-and-out strikers like a Michael Owen or a Jermaine Defoe of days gone by. And, I think...
That's why I don't think Bar's a good idea. He's too similar.
I think the only 2 players you can look at, if you want one with pace, you look at Loic Remy, who's obviously gone to Newcastle. But if you want one who's a bit more savvy, Jordan Rhodes is still there. And Jordan Rhodes...
Oh, you cheeky monkey.
Jordan Rhodes is a player...
I'm about to do that. Seriously.
Really?
Go on, carry on.
I want... Championships, probably my favourite. Obviously, you've got the Premier League with Arsenal. Championships, my favourite league out of any league, pretty much. And Jordan Rhodes is someone with. He's a bit like Shearer in front of goal. It's really it's Predator from there on.
I have his stats right here. I was about to say
because I've no doubt the listeners would be intrigued to hear how really a machine he is. Yeah. Although Championship level, but I would look to someone like Ricky Lambert. To say you can bring Championship ability up to the Premiership.
Yeah, you look at Rhodes. He's 6'1". He's the Scotland international. 3 goals in 10 games for a team that doesn't try and score goals. Scotland under 21, 8 in 8. Now that's fucking brilliant. Last season he played for Blackburn in the Championship and they finished 17th. He still got 27 goals in 43 games. This season, 4 goals in 5 games. For Huddersfield, 36 goals in 40 games in League One when they lost out to Peterborough.
Yeah.
that was the season before. And he's back. He's got 73 in 124 in his entire career, 131 in 236. And today Wigan have been making a cheeky bid for him, which is why I was thinking about him. But I reckon he'd get in there and he would boss it, and he can score from anywhere. He's good in the air, and he reminds me, like you say, like a Shearer.
I've got to politely disagree with you on this one.
I saw him play against Bolton at the weekend. Was it Bolton they played?
Yeah.
And I thought he was fantastic. I saw him on the Football League show, and he really did look a quite exceptional player.
Yeah, no, he is. And, obviously there's the doubt. There's always a step up. The Premier League is different gravy to the Championship. And, I remember Steve Howard playing for Derby County, scored 29 goals in the Championship and 1 in the Premiership. Yet Ricky Lambert showed he can do it in the Championship. Next thing, he's got an England card. It's always a very big risk going for a Championship player, especially a defender, because, generally the standard of defending is the most questionable out of all the areas of the pitch. Is the opposition's final third. Can you deal with it? Can you deal with the pressure, play the high line, deal with the physical dimension of the Championship? But Jordan Rhodes, I'm a fan of an English player. I think they know the country. They know the culture a bit better instantly. They don't take 3 or 4 games to bed in. Jordan Rhodes, I'd be a delight to see him come. I don't think he won't. We won't go for Jordan Rhodes, and people may be, barking at me saying why we're just about to sign Ozil, who, is literally different gravy, and Jordan Rhodes is a Championship player. So it's what I'd call a cheeky punt more than a big statement. But yeah.
And
Would
Sam,
you say
you've
at this
been very
stage-
quiet.
Sorry.
I was going to say, Sam's been very quiet so far on the pod. Is there anything that you'd like to add into this?
Well, Jordan Rhodes, I'm not particularly a fan of him. It's the old saying, isn't it? Can he do it in the Premier League?
Yeah.
I suppose that's the saying. And you never know. Ricky Lambert is someone that's done it in every league, isn't he? So you just never know until they're there. It's too much of a risk, I think, for Arsenal to go out, and I know we've got the money, but to go out and bring in a player like that, if he doesn't do it, then you're thinking about offloading him, so he adds to the deadwood, etc. So I think Arsenal, Wenger said yesterday or on the Saturday in his press conference, Sunday, he was looking for 2 super players. Obviously, one of them is Ozil. The other one, maybe it was Di Maria, and obviously doesn't look like it's going to happen. But I suppose the other one, maybe he was referring to like a Suarez or a Rooney type, and obviously he just couldn't make it come off in this window. I just think what might happen is he might go with what he's got now until January and try and do something in January, being a top striker then. But obviously you rarely see big moves in January, do you?
I would say that the one problem with that we've got is if Giroud does pick up a knock, then we are absolutely screwed. Yes. I would say. I think he needs to go out and do something in the next couple of hours, whether it be a loan or whether it be actually putting all of your cards on the table and going, right, there's 60 million. Liverpool, can we have Suarez, please? And I don't think that Arsenal are actually agreed to doing that. I think, the money is there. Every player, as I've said, has his price. Why not? I can't see why not.
Yeah, but if it's been reported on Arsblog's site and on Sky Sports that Demba Ba has passed a medical at Arsenal, then what the hell is he doing there, taking a medical if Chelsea don't want to loan or sell him to us?
That's a good point.
Yeah, he wouldn't be there. So that's who we're going to sign. And
yeah, so much misinformation out there. You never know which part of it's true, do you? Albeit the ones you've quoted are reliable sources.
Yeah.
Thing is, you might actually think that maybe Chelsea have put out a smoke screen, or there's something.
Or like
in there
Sam said, Mourinho being Mourinho, trying to screw us over a little.
That's unlike him, isn't it? The shit.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a thing he'd do, does it?
Yeah, definitely
right,
not.
So, gentlemen, what we're going to do now is every podcast and the guests we've had on, we've asked them, other than Mesut Ozil, who would they rather, who would you like us to sign? So we'll start off with James, and you've got 2 choices. Who would you like to sign?
Oh, that's a toughie. I mean, are we talking hypothetically or within reason?
Bit of both.
Somebody defensive maybe I can't think of a name to hand,
Well,
but
Fellaini's just put in a transfer request at Everton.
Fellaini has just been seen leaving the Everton training ground in his car. That was about half an hour ago. My missus has just come in and she's been keeping fairly close to all the action today, and she's turned around and said that Demba Ba to Arsenal is off, and that's the latest reports.
yeah, I'd say we need somebody, obviously somebody up front, but as for the other guys, I'm really struggling for a name here. I mean, I could name tons of strikers I want, but I can't think of one off the top of my head we can get in the next couple hours.
Yeah.
What about Benzema? Do you not think we could turn the hand of Real Madrid?
I think
having
that's a
done
dead issue now.
I think they need him this season. But to be honest, Benzema's a player who's going to be facing, the Real Madrid goal with shots whizzing over his head with Bale and Ronaldo. Don't see it. That would be a war zone. Before I let Sam go and James come up with a name, I thought, before we signed Viviano tonight, realistically, if we sign Ozil, I don't think it would be Arsenal's nature. It's not his nature to spend £42 million, but it wouldn't be in his nature to go gung-ho for another player. So I would have gone for, if he wasn't injured, Ben Foster and Micah Richards, definitely.
Micah Richards is a good shout, but I don't think City will sell him either.
I just think Richards is such an underused player. I think he's the best right back in the country behind Jenkinson. I'm joking. I actually do think he is the best right back in the country ahead of Jenkinson, Johnson and Walker. I think he's
no
very...
Sanya in there?
Oh, I mean internationally. Sorry, I mean
okay.
I should have said for country. I think he's the best, and it's weird why no coach wants to pick him. But he's very quick for his size. He's versatile. He's very robust. Has a very good in quotes, mental strength and stuff like that. So those would be my two. But I'm only being realistic. If you want me to be more adventurous, come back to me in 10 seconds or something like that. But
have you got anyone yet, Sam?
Well, I'm thinking of two players in France, and you probably won't like both of them. One is the famous Salomon Kalou, who I believe has a £2.6 million buyout clause.
That's 10 times what he's worth.
And the other one is Bafétimbi Gomes, who I think is available for around £5 million. So there's two options there, but the thing that stands out there, he's the Lyon forward who's been linked with Newcastle a lot in this window. But the thing about him is he's not really that good.
So you're picking players you don't even rate yourself.
But we're talking availability, not personal selection.
That is what we're talking, right? Because I would have gone for Ronaldo straight away. But
yeah, who wouldn't?
No, it has to be the obvious choice, of course. But I think that just about concludes this episode of the podcast, seeing as my Chinese has just arrived.
Everyone shut up, fuck off. He's got food to eat.
So who have we got on next, Danny? I'll spring it on you again.
Yeah, you know that I've had to reset the computer, but you cheeky monkey, it'll come back up again. That's the wonders of Windows 7. We have Mr. Gay, She-War, and Andy Yorkshire Gunner. And maybe
that's one to look forward to.
If we can squeeze another one, or talk about the north-south divide there, the other one would have no fucking idea what the other one's on about.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll try to do, seeing as we're a fan podcast. Yeah. Let's go on Twitter and see if there's anybody that wants to join them too.
Oh, Jesus, now you're going to fucking start a shitstorm. Yeah, but this won't be up in time to get them on, so we'll get away with it. Lovely. Job done.
Fantastic. Right, so that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast transfer deadline day special. God, I'll never tire of saying that. Number 9. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back in roughly half an hour to an hour. Goodbye.
Cheerio, everyone.
Bye-bye.
That's what you're saying, you shitbag.
I got to do my saying. Thank you for listening, you beautiful bastards.
There you go. Oh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheerio.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland transfer deadline day special. This is podcast number 10, and joining me I have Danny as ever, and also with me I have Yorkshire Gooner Andy. Hello, Andy.
Hello, boys.
And how are you?
I'm very well, very well.
Good, that's what I like to hear. Joining Andy on the show tonight is a regular panelist, and you'll be pleased to say that we've got Gav with us again. Hello, Gav.
What a load of bollocks.
Oh, I knew there was always going to be one person on here that wasn't happy. I mean, it's taken like 9.5 hours, but we finally found him.
I'm just like, it's like Christmas morning, and you wake up and you know what present you're getting, right? But you've got to wait until you've eaten your dinner before you can unwrap it. And then once you've unwrapped it, you've got to play stupid party games before you can actually play with your present. That's what it feels like. And at the moment, where's the fucking presents?
In Munich.
They seem to be stalling on actually announcing him.
Maybe it's a giant ruse.
Might be a smoke screen,
Might end up with Gareth Barry. I hear he's on the wonk. He's on the move.
It's a smoke screen
in a corner, rocking backwards and forwards. Trust me.
It's a smoke screen for Nicholas Bentner signing a new contract. That's what it is.
Oh, dreadful.
Don't worry, Diaby will be back for Christmas.
Yeah, but which one?
So, Gav, am I right in saying that you're not happy with what's gone on today?
It's not that. I mean, if the deal comes off for the German fella, then everyone's going to be happy. Everyone's going to be delighted. He's purely a superb, world class player, and what I've been crying out for since we sold Fabregas. But it's just, why are we dragging it out all day long, and why is it taking all this time? And I just don't understand it. And it just is. It's just fucking annoying, really. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to wake up this morning, go into work, 9:30. Ozil deal done in the bag, and then hopefully the club spend the rest of the day trying to bring other players in. But as we stand at the moment, we're looking at 2 free transfers and a keeper on loan. I don't understand. I don't understand the logic. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose when you put it like that, it's not been the best day, considering that, like you said, the main present is yet to be unwrapped. Andy, is that something you go with?
It sounds almost churlish, doesn't it, to say it's disappointing when we're looking to spend £42.5 million on a great player, but we need more than that. We need a squad as bench yesterday. If we needed a goal, where were it going to come from? And looks of it, we're going to have Bentner. We're going to need to get him fit. And let's be honest here, he hasn't been a part of the squad for 2 years.
Not forgetting all the cheeky little jibes he's made about Arsenal while he's been away on loan to Sunderland and Juventus. While he was at Juventus, am I right in saying he sold less than 10 shirts for them?
I think he sold one, and that was Darren Goff on Talk Sport ringing up and saying, "Can I have one?" And the bloke was, I don't know if it was a skit, whether it was real, but there was reports earlier that we'd paid Bentner's contract off. Is that not been confirmed yet?
I think we was going to pay his contract off if we got another striker in, and if he wasn't the last resort. But it looks like we've been turned down for a loan deal for Demba Ba. We got turned down by Suarez, Higuain, and however we want to fucking pronounce it. But it seems like
I hope we do sign Ozil. That's one you can pronounce. You know I'm messing, Gav.
Don't.
No,
I can hear the tears of sadness in his heart.
Let's be honest here, guys. If we'd have said 2 days ago that we're going to be going into final day and pinning his hopes on getting Demba Ba on a loan, come on.
Wouldn't have got out of bed.
No, as soon as he signs a contract with Arsenal, his knee explodes.
Yeah, that infamous knee that has so far managed to get his contract cancelled with one club, and West Ham then let him go on a nothing because they didn't trust it long enough.
Do you not think that Mesut Ozil is the sweetener to make all the other business, or lack of it this summer, imperative? That is like, no, I hate to use the word smokescreen, but Ozil aside, if you'd have gone Sonogo free, Flamini free, Demba Ba on loan, you would have said that would have been a pretty crap summer.
Basically what's happened is we've gone to Real Madrid and said, right, as soon as the deal for Bale's sorted out, tell us which player you don't want and we'll buy him off you. That's what's basically happened.
It seems
like I say, they've come up with him being the the square peg for the round hole, and they don't want him anymore. So they've kindly told us that we can pay for him. But if you look at it, I know it sounds really daft. I know the money's stupid, but if we buy him for 42.5 million, right? Bear with me on this one. We've sold players for 12.5 million so far, yeah?
Yeah.
We've recuperated something like 500 grand a week in wages, yep?
Yeah.
The TV money next year is up by £30 million. If you do the maths, it basically means, look, we actually have not spent a penny, and we're probably better off by 200 grand a week in wages.
Actually, a lot more than that if you consider the amount of wage. Didn't you do a piece, Danny, on how much had gone out? I mean, Arshavin was 90,000 on his own, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was. Yeah, I did do a bit where if you include all the loan players, the players that have left the club, we're saving £415,000 a week, and then the players that are loaned out is £103,000 a week. This is going by the figures that were released about a year or so ago. So even at a rough estimate, that's £500,000 a week we're saving on wages. £2 million a month, £24 million a year. Could go on.
Well, like you say, it virtually pays for Ozil, doesn't it? Virtually.
Well, it does. It more than pays for him. It's just literally like we actually have not spent any money, which, surprise, we haven't spent any money.
I find it incredible that we've got to an hour and 20 minutes left of the window and we haven't got a striker.
And we've only got 2 fit centre-backs.
It's just, yeah, he's a great player, Ozil. Yeah, he's fantastic. But we need more than that. We could
have spent the money, strengthening the squad with not world-class players. Not that we're grumping. Ozil's brilliant, but
it's almost like the players that play in that business.
Yeah. And what does that mean? If we sign Ozil, that means our best, most creative player, Cazorla, can no longer play behind the striker.
Yeah.
And one of our best players who's having a renaissance in his career, Rosicky, isn't going to get a game anymore.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. He's an upgrade, isn't he? He's an upgrade on everything we've got.
Oh, gorgeous. He's an upgrade on most players, most Premier League teams have got.
I'm amazed that United aren't come in for him. I
don't
was
trust the
expecting that
ginger
all day long.
Yeah, they don't trust Moyes, do they?
Support earlier, right? And the problem is if they get Fellaini and we get Ozil, we've both put it round the wrong way round. We need someone like Fellaini, and they need someone like Ozil. So I just don't understand the logic. I mean, all right, yeah, he's better than what we've got, blah blah blah. But it means
I agree entirely. We need
play at all. And we're buying another player who, it's a tippy toe around the edge of the box kind of player. But whereas what we need is somebody who gets hold of the ball and just shoots straight away.
No, I agree. I mean, you've got to believe that if we go into the close of the window without adding a striker to our squad, that's got to be suicide, surely. And that's not the first time I've said that. I've said that about 3 or 4 times this window. From the moment we were going this morning to this very point now, it's still to the case. Sonogo is injury prone. You can't rely on him. One injury to Giroud and we are up shit creek, and there ain't a paddle.
It's not just that he's injury prone. He looks miles away from being ready for Arsenal. Miles away from it. It didn't impress me at all. He looks so raw.
But I think even Arsene Wenger would say that his signing was a gamble.
Every signing's a gamble, but we just don't make enough of them.
A gamble. Yeah, I agree completely with you. I mean, it's just, again, like I say, I agree with what everybody else has said. It's just completely ridiculous that we're getting to now within 1 hour and 20 minutes of the transfer window closing, and we're just so many players short. And, to go along with what Andy said earlier, and it's completely right in saying the bench that we had on Sunday, took one look at it, and it was just like, there's nobody on there that's a game changer. There was no game changers on there whatsoever. There was no one on there that, we could have brought on if we needed to get a goal. Luckily, we got the goal, and we had players on the pitch that, look, we could finish on. I think we ended up the game with, 4, 2 left backs and 2 right backs on the pitch. I don't think we've done that since George Graham at times.
Got a question here on Twitter from @NI_Gunner. Question for you guys. Earlier it was suggested Zenit want £10 million for Hulk on a 1-year loan. What do you think? Very good bar alternative.
No. For 10 million for 1 year's loan, that's Nah, and I'll be honest with you. I see a lot of people on here actually speaking up Hulk. And when he was close to a move to Chelsea about a year back, I said, do you know what? 30 million, they can have him all day long. Because I've seen him for games for Brazil where he could not hit a barn door.
Didn't he play for Porto against Arsenal in Champions League a few seasons ago?
Yeah, he did.
He started Park up front, and he were up the worst pair of strikers in a Champions League game I've ever seen in my life. Them two, dreadful.
And his name's
Hulk
pronounced.
is shit. I don't like Hulk.
No,
it's Ulke, if you want to say it the Brazilian way, but we'll call him Hulk.
Well, I mean, that's
incredible.
If there's a Brazilian word for donkey, it probably comes out of something like hook.
Someone else on our Twitter thing has suggested Eduardo. Maybe get Eduardo back. Who was that? At Howley _ said, a name to add to the list, a striker debate. At this stage, Arsenal could do a lot worse than bringing back Eduardo.
I'll tell you who they should go back for. They should go back for that Dutch kid who plays up front for United. He seems a decent player.
Oh no, he's got Manchester United in his heart. He'd never leave. Yeah.
To coin a phrase. But what's stopping them from going to Man United and going, right, 40 million, let's do it. Let's have Wayne Rooney. What is stopping them from doing that?
Because big clubs do not sell players to their rivals, apart from us.
Very, very true.
Listen to this for dedication. At bankers_AFC has just tweeted, just woke up and listening to the AFC podcast, Deadline Day Special, starting at part 1. Not going to check on transfers until I listen to them all. Cheers, Ryan. And Ryan is in, doesn't say where he is, but yeah. Good luck, Ryan.
Hello to Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
That shot when we've signed Messi, isn't he? Does he know we've signed Messi?
Well, if he started at number 1, he's got a long old time before he gets through to number 10.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be want to be him when he checks Sky Sports News waiting for Messi to Arsenal and he realises we've been pulling his plonker. Poor old boy. Yeah. But that pretty much brings us to an end for the 10th edition of this podcast. But before we go, like we've done with every other guest that we've had on today, and I think there's been about
600.
About 690 guests that we've had on today. Apart from Mesut Ozil, who of your 2 players you'd realistically like to see sign for Arsenal in the last hour and a quarter?
Someone's got a puncher.
So Phil Mitchell's joined.
I'll tell you what, I'd go in for Fellaini. Even now, I'd go in with whatever Everton want for Fellaini.
Yep, that's my choice.
I'd also go in for Suarez or Rooney. I'd offer them that much money that they can't turn it down.
In used fivers. Oh, that'll be happy scousers in used £50 million in used fivers. They won't be able to say no.
Why are we dicking about on a fucking prick with and one knee on loan? You know what I mean? We've got fucking cash on it. It should be balls in our court.
You're not that far away, Andy. Could you nip up there and have a word before the deadline?
Yeah, I'll nip across M62.
Yeah.
Now. No problem at all.
If you can get him to sign, let us know and we'll break it on air.
Yeah, give him a couple of £100 advance and say Mr. Wenger's coming up with his briefcase.
I'll take a couple of grannies with me as a sweetener.
Yeah, he'll see you right. And Gav, who would you like to see come in?
The list is fucking endless. I'd like to actually, right, with 1 hour and 15 minutes. With 1 hour and 15 minutes to go, I'd like to see anybody come in. Right? I would even open a can of beer and then pour it down the drain if Diaby signed a new contract. We just need players. We need bodies. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Williams from Swansea, Rooney. I'd even be happy. I wouldn't be happy, but I'd even sort of chuckle a little bit if we signed fucking Torres. Fellaini, Baines, Benteke from Villa.
Right,
anybody.
I shall test
fucking sign somebody.
How about Gallas and David Bentley are both on a free transfer? They're both available.
Yeah, buy them and
sell them to
sack the toilet cleaners at the Emirates and make them work for free.
I think we found your level of how low you won't sink. Not two.
Jesus, we want players, not fucking wankers.
Or plunge. so to speak. Excuse the pun.
He's been here all day. He's finally cracked.
So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland transfer deadline day special. I'm never going to tire of saying that.
You've only got to say it one more time.
Oh, thank fuck for that. It's been lovely. It's been emotional. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you for the last half an hour. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast transfer day special. We are at the very end of the day, and with me I'm joined by Danny as always. I have Gav, I have John, our angry Venezuelan, I have FK, I've got Geoff, and I've got Steve with us as well. So boys, what have you made of today? Who wants to go first?
Oh Jesus, I don't. I'm fucked.
All the miserable fucking cunts are all quiet.
I fancy we've got to let Steve go first.
Go on, Steve. Say your bit.
Well, I went out on Saturday night and didn't get in till 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm on antibiotics because of this bloody tooth abscess. I got in Sunday morning at 7 o'clock. I had a kip till 3 o'clock, watched the North London derby, got bollocksed again. And all day today I've been sat in my mate's restaurant while the builders have been smashing the place to bits. A raging hangover, varying between the sinks and the cars, both ends burning. It's been an utter disaster, and we still haven't signed a striker. And I'm still sat here with buttocks clenched, so it's not really clever, really.
It's podcast gold if ever I've heard it.
Speak up, Brown, you're through.
Yes, exactly. Don't cough, clench tightly.
And Geoff, what do you make of today then? Surely you must be happy with a certain Mesut Ozil?
Highly delighted. He's definitely the player that we've needed. He's highly talented, great left foot. And we've missed the left footed, a natural left footed. I mean, you've got to forget Jack for the last couple of years. He's full of promise and he hasn't really been fit. We've missed a natural left footed midfield player. Attacking midfield player since, for a long time now, so they see different angles, don't they, the lefties, and I think it'll be really, really good for us. I'm disappointed, I must be honest with you, that we haven't bought a striker. I'm disappointed that although we was in for Bar, that there wasn't a contingency plan to set in place just in case he dropped. And I must say, we should have seen this coming because Mourinho did this to us this time last year, didn't he? With Nuri Sahin, he kept us on the hook until last minute, and then he upped the price, and then he wanted to send Sahin to Liverpool with his old pal Brendan Rodgers. So we should have expected this, and I'm disappointed that they didn't have anybody else in place. So we got to go with what we got, and see how it goes.
Has anybody got Sky Sports News on? Because it seems like Geraint Hughes is reporting from somewhere in Africa.
I know that
Jesus.
FK told me that they might be pushing a deal through for a striker last minute.
That's what some of the bigger accounts on Twitter are kind of tweeting, that we may be making a last minute move. I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm just
when will they learn?
Because I know exactly. I'm just over the moon with Ozil. I can't quite take it in. I'm sitting here at my mate's house and we're just sitting there watching the TV, just mouths open. We don't know. I mean, we've just signed one of the best footballers on the planet. Think about that for a moment. Arsenal Football Club have just signed. I mean, I feel like crying. Do you know what I mean? It's just a magic feeling, and I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not going to let anybody say anything over
Here we
the
go.
next few days. No, come on, GC. I'm not saying that Wenger's mate. It's been a perfect window, because it hasn't. It's had its flaws. Like Geoff said, gutted and surprised that we've not gone out and got a striker. Maybe a bit of a cover in defence as well. But as players go, what a player. I mean, even the most, biggest Arsene out person must be happy right now with that signing. I mean, that's just brilliant.
Would you like to respond to that, Gav?
Oh, Jesus, this could get messy. They've just thrown an egg at Geraint when he's outside of Arsenal. Someone's lobbed an egg at him.
Have they?
Yeah,
God
he's covered in
him.
egg, and everyone's jumping up all around him.
Oh no.
He looks upset.
Well, what they're saying there is don't count your chickens and don't count your eggs until they've hatched, or whatever it is.
There is no chickens.
I noticed they haven't got someone. I've noticed that they've only got someone at White Hart Lane, have they? They're worried about getting mugged, didn't they? I suppose.
They were mugged off yesterday, son.
Yeah. So go on, Gav. You're going to fire away with your retort on.
Well, I mean, what is there to say, really? I mean, it's okay. Yeah, he's a great player. He's a world class player. Blah blah blah. But
That's a bit harsh.
But can he play centre back? Do you know what I mean?
You can. No.
Well, sure, he could at a push.
Fucking Rams will be playing centre back soon. But it's like I say, the major problem that we've got is if anything happens to Giroud, we are really, really fucked.
We put.
Do you know what I mean? We are really fucked. I mean, no, we haven't. We've got fucking nobody, mate. Do you know what I mean? We've got fucking Podolski who's injured. We've got Walcott who looks completely out of his depth, playing completely through the middle all the time. And you can't start a season with one centre forward. It's fucking madness. It's absolute madness. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we should have fuck me, put in 15 million fucking for Lambert from Southampton. Do you know what I mean? Try and get Benteke from Villa. It's an absolute fucking disgrace that a club our size is going into the fucking season with just one forward.
And Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some sympathy with what Gavin said. I mean, because although they spent a huge amount of money on what is an incredible signing, I mean, it is almost another Bergkamp moment. We signed a world-class player. Who's he going to be passing to himself? If Giroud gets injured in a meaningless international, of which there are fucking millions, we're up shit creek with that paddle. Yeah, we might be able to get away with that, with deploying Walker up front on his own. We might get away with Podolski staying fit for more than 2 weeks and being out of play more than 60 minutes. But it's gambling. Why are we taking gambles? We've still got £150 million in the bank. All we spent today was the TV money for next year, plus the money we got in for the other players and the money we saved on the wages. So, actual fact, Kroenke's not touched the cash in the bank at all. Did they actually go anywhere and flash 50-60 million pound at him to see if they could get a player? I don't know. I did see somebody say that Rooney was even offered to us last week. That's someone who's usually very reliable.
Is that DLD22?
Yeah, and if he was offered to us, I mean, why the fuck didn't we break their arms and legs off and throw huge wads of tenors at them?
No, they've tried for him, mate. He's not for sale. Simple as that.
No.
He needs a new ranch, mate. Kroenke needs a new ranch.
But on a more positive side, I mean, you could be David Moyes sitting here right now.
Well, I've just seen that poor bloke standing out at Everton. I mean, there's no one standing behind him. I think they're all out robbing wheels off of cars. Poor bloke. That's why.
I mean, going back to the situation, I understand. I'm disappointed as the next man. I really am. But I'll tell you what it is. What I think's happened now. There's a bracket of them centre forwards that are going to play for Arsenal. And there's a bracket underneath with the 10 to 20 million pound players, and then you've got the 20 million pounds to the 40 million pound players. I honestly think that Wenger he don't really want to take a punt again on the 15 and 20 million pound striker again, because he wants to keep that money, run with what he's got, and obviously try to get Bar on loan. That's dropped out, and then spend the big money on a proper striker when they become available, either in January or in the summer. And you can't really blame him for that. I mean, anyone else would have just panicked. You've got to give him a little bit of credit, because he's got balls of steel, the man, because anyone else would have panicked and just gone, bang, slashed it about. Like you said, bought the boy from Southampton for £15 million. But again, is he really going to? Is he going to do the job? Is he better than Akpom? You don't know.
Is he better than Bentner? That's the point.
Well, exactly. Yeah, but I know, but you never know. He might come back and he might be a world beater for us for a few games at Bentner. You never know, mate. Funnier things have happened at sea. His goal scoring record. Listen, Listen, I understand what you're saying, but if you look at his goal scoring record for Arsenal, I think it's like 1 in 2.5 games. That ain't too bad. It's not the end of the world. It's not an ideal window. I agree, but we've got to go with what we've got.
Yeah, no, exactly, and you've got to back the boys up 100%. Don't get me wrong in that. But to say Bentner's going to come back and take the world by storm is complete bollocks, mate. Yeah. Where we fucked up here, and like I say again, reiterate what Steve said. When it comes down, yes, it's a record fee. We've spent 3 times more than what we spent on Arshavin or Reyes or whatever. But by the time you add the TV money and the safe wages, we've spent a total of fuck all again this transfer season.
Is that a nice round
Absolute
even
fuck all.
fuck all, or is it point fuck all?
But they've
Or
tried
just
though,
fuck
mate.
all?
You can't say they haven't tried. If there was players out there that he would buy, it's quite obvious that he would have bought them. The players are not there.
Okay, I'll give this to you. Benteke and Lambert are better than anything else that we've got apart from Giroud at our club.
Do you want to go and spend £35 million on Benteke? I wouldn't, mate. I'm sorry. It's
No, I
unpriced.
wouldn't either.
Well, that's what you're going to have to spend on him.
25 million's over the top. He's
But
over
that's what
the
you
top.
got to spend. That's what you got to spend on him, mate. They won't release him. He just signed a new contract. They've done it for a reason. You know, these players are not out there. You don't think he's trying, Wenger? You don't think he's intelligent not to realise we need a centre forward?
He's fouled then. He's fouled because we're going into the season with one striker. With one recognised striker, and that's Giroud. And let's be honest, Giroud's he shouldn't really be first choice. He's a very, very good plan B, and yet he worked his socks off against Tottenham. Probably had one of his best games. He took his goal well, but he's not a match winner. When we've got the best part of £100 million sitting in the bank, we should not be going into the season just with one striker. It shouldn't be happening. It's fucking criminal, mate.
No,
I
agree.
Absolutely criminal.
And John, we've not heard much from you.
Well,
Fully
do you
drunk.
really? Do you? No.
I'll tell you, he's hammered.
Do
He's
you
just
want to
kicking
hear
back.
from me? Do you want to hear from me?
Of course
listen,
we do.
Listen, at the end of the day, this is what happened. Exactly like Geoff said, I agree with him 100%. He's gone out there and he's tried. But how many top-level teams where the top-level strikers are, or people that have just re-signed their top-level strikers, are going to give them to us knowing that we're a direct rival? It's just not going to happen. Liverpool made it obvious. Manchester United made it obvious. It just wasn't available. They did the next best thing, which was they went and they signed a world-class 10.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, Barcelona's done without a proper striker for years. Listen, Villa was a wide player. He can play striker. He did play striker, but their system really is more of a false nine. There's no reason why spelling Giroud from games here and there, we can't play a false nine system.
Yeah, I agree.
It's making the best of a bad situation as far as the striker position is concerned.
But I think that's GC's point, saying that why we shouldn't have to make the most of a bad situation. We've had so much money and so much time that we could have got a striker. I would agree with GC just saying that actually it is criminal to go into Premier League season. I know Barcelona have managed to do it in La Liga. I would argue that the La Liga is not as maybe fiercely competitive as the Premier League, especially when you're playing for a club like Barcelona who can score goals from all over the park. But I would maybe disagree with you, Gav, when you say that Giroud's not any good or just a kind of like plan B kind of strike. I think that's a little bit harsh. I think it'd be good.
I will let you finish, but don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a very, very good plan B stroke plan A. He shouldn't be first. He shouldn't be first choice. We should have something slightly better than him. I mean,
even that I think is harsh because when he was in France, he won the league with Montpellier and he was top goal scorer for a very
21 goals.
Yeah, for not a very good team. And
Arsene Wenger did say in an interview after the game yesterday that when he came he did have to adapt and he is learning and he is a better player this season. However, I don't still think he's the finished article.
Yeah, and Gav, also you say he's not a match winner, but North London derby, that's as big a game as we're going to get in our calendar. It's such a pressured game yesterday, and he delivered. I mean, even 85th minute, 90th minute, you could see him running around for the team, sliding challenges all over the place. It means a lot to him, and I think he's out there to kind of...
And with a Mesut Ozil behind him, he won't score 22, 23 goals. He'll score 28, 30.
And you know what, John? Even when Giroud's out, and I know Walcott has his sort of knockers, but... If we could rotate, we could rest him, we could play Podolski up front, we could play Walcott up front, Ox out wide, and we have options, but that does not paper over the cracks. And
it doesn't.
I'm completely in agreement with Gav. I think we could have done a lot more to get somebody in.
The window is officially closed.
Oh, thanks for that. Brilliant.
Happy New Year! Oh, that's the wrong one.
It does feel like a Happy New Year moment.
Well, at last the fucking moaning can stop, and we can just get behind the fucking people that we have on our roster.
Well, we'll
and
see you
stop
later
being
then,
a bunch of
GC.
fucking cunts.
We'll hear from you again in January.
Yeah, I mean, you say about. I understand about the you say, well, we should have bought someone and everything else, but who could you buy? Who could you buy? Name them. They're very difficult. And
but better yet, who could we buy that everybody would be happy with? Everybody was complaining this morning when we were talking about Ba. The minute the Bog doesn't go through, everybody's fucking complaining that it didn't go through.
Yeah, but guys, that's what I'm not paid to kind of like do that kind of research. That's why you've got such a massive scouting network, and there are strikers out there. There are. We have so much money. I don't know. All I'm saying is I do see Gav's frustration, and I kind of share that. I'm a little bit worried about that, but I wouldn't say that Giroud's. I think Giroud could lead the line for us perfectly the entire season, with backup from Walcott. And like you say, John, if we do play that false nine and get some attacking players up there as well, like at certain games, it's not too much of a problem. But I think in an ideal world, we would have brought in somebody, even if it was like a Demba Ba or a I don't know, like even a Fernando Torres. Lukaku's on the verge of going on loan to West Brom. They probably would have sold him for a lot of money. I don't know.
Interesting why they didn't buy Bar for offered Chelsea £8 million for him.
I think they'd have taken 6 just to get him off the book. Anybody watching Sky Sports News?
No.
I am.
You see, outside Arsenal,
weren't they asking 12?
I don't know, but outside Arsenal at the moment, you've got poor Geraint Hughes, who has been egged, and now he looks like he's got bounces. He looks like he's in bloody Eastern Russia now. He's got these massive, big, pale, shaven-headed bouncers holding the crowd back behind him.
Amazing.
Looks like there's a couple of lunatics back there as well.
I know you've got something to say, Steve.
Yeah, it goes back to what Geoff was talking about. I mean, if you look at it in a different way for a minute, if you look at, say, how much Cavani went for, and you look at how much the other player that went to PSG went for, you're talking 55, 60 million pounds plus horrific wages for a top-class striker. Now, Cavani and the other guy's name has escaped me.
Falcao
have gone. So what does that leave underneath them? And this is the problem. That you can see why Wenger was trying to dig out Suarez for 40, 50 million quid. You can see why he was trying to dig out Rooney, because actual fact, in that class of top strikers, there's nothing really there that's going to be released by anybody. They've all been tied up, protected, chairman's pet player. So then the question comes up, well, do I actually want to take a gamble on, say, someone who's worth 15 million quid in the Premiership? Is he better than Bentner? Actually, probably the best deal we could have done probably was Demba Ba, even though he's only got one left knee, as Andy Yorkshire Gooden was saying earlier on. So at the end of the day, if that deal goes away, you've got to say, well, actual fact, with 5 or 6 hours to go left in the transfer window, realistically, even if you threw 80 million quid at someone to release a player they can't replace, they're not going to do it. So we are where we are, and we've just got to lump it until January, when hopefully we can go out. Some players that are shaken out of teams, got pissed off, or maybe they want to change, whatever, and we can go out there and find another player. But I admit, it's a sweet and sour moment, isn't it? On one hand, we're signing a world-class, game-changing player in midfield, but it's just a sort of a little sour, nasty twist at the end. We didn't get that striker, but I'd rather have no one than have Park again.
Yeah, definitely. I know you've got something to say, Gav.
Yeah, no, I mean, bloody Park, fuck me, that was just a tax write-off, wasn't it? But yeah, no. Again, the problem is this should all have been sorted out months ago. And like I say, if Wenger had a list of targets for strikers that he wanted to bring in, he's failed on every single one of them. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's no surprise. I mean, he's known since probably Christmas. Look, we're a striker short of a team, and at the moment we're probably we're the weakest we've been in defence probably since I've been following Arsenal. And I just don't understand why we haven't done that. And it's just like we've got a goalkeeper. Look, we've come in on a loan signing again, and we've got 2 players that have come in on a free, and we haven't. The money that we spent on Ozil was money that's recuperated anyway. So we're just literally based another transfer window where, in all fairness, the club actually has not spent a penny. And that's not acceptable with the prices that people are paying to watch the game. It's just ridiculous. Look, the match going fans and the people that put their fucking hand in their pocket week in and week out, deserve better. I mean, literally, I mean, we're 2 injuries away from actually having nobody in the whole of the squad apart from that French postman to actually play up front.
So, but do you not think that you're looking at it a little bit negatively, Gav? I mean,
Yeah, no,
maybe.
Not negatively. I'm looking at it, in a realistic manner. Players get injured. Do you know what I mean? Podolski, I don't think he's been fully fit since he's been at ours, and he's got to be at the moment probably second choice centre forward. We've then got Walcott, and if Walcott plays down the middle, who plays down the right? Because at the moment we've also got Chamberlain that's injured. We've got an injury hit squad at the moment, and we've had so much time and we've got so much money to actually build a decent squad. And again, we're at it again. We're again 2 or 3 players short of actually making a challenge this season.
But do you not think that the words that they'll come out with is why are you guys moaning? We've just gone out and made the biggest signing of the summer.
Because we need players in other positions. We need a striker. We need a covering man in defence. Let's fingers crossed Flamini comes in and does a good job at defensive midfielder. But like I say, we're very, very weak. You've only got to look at the bench we had against Tottenham. That was probably the weakest bench ever. We had a 16-year-old on the bench. A 16.
What was his name, Danny?
I was stuffing my face full of spaghetti bolognese because I'm not eating all day. I think his name was Gideon something. Something about the bench of the weekend. They did say that Wenger only took 18 players in the squad that day. That's every player we had. So that was 11 plus 7. That's all we had. We didn't have any more. That's terrible and unlucky.
Yeah, it's strange. I must admit, it does. I'm a little bit, like you said, it's sweet and sour, isn't it? I'm a little bit underwhelmed by it, really. But these players they're hard to get in, mate. It's quite obvious that they're hard to get in.
And they go no. I mean, Chelsea have just loaned out Lukaku, haven't they? I think he's gone to Everton. If we'd have wanted him, they'd have said, no, you're not having him. So that's the other thing we've got to have. We can't get any decent loans because they're not going to loan a player that's half decent to one of your rivals. So every single team who's got decent players that are better than what we've got, they're saying, no, you're not having him. Piss off. So that stuff about him having Demba Ba having a medical today, that must have been bullshit. Because why let him have a medical if you had no chance of letting him go?
Unless Chelsea wouldn't budge on the 3 million and Arsenal wouldn't pull it up.
Nah, I can't see that. When it comes to a certain stage where you've got to pay 1.5 million or 3 million or something in between, you pull up the 3 million quid if it comes to the 11th hour, don't you? Surely.
He must have failed the medical then. That's the only.
No, he wouldn't let him go to us. As simple as that. Mourinho's no. Yeah, he's grafted us again. He lets you. The carrot's been dangled again, and he's pulled it away right at the last minute.
But
technically, Ba can't even pass a medical with his knee.
Yeah, and they made an inquiry 2 weeks ago for Edin Dzeko, but he's wanted at the club now. The manager, what's his name at Man City? Pellegrini likes him, and before Pellegrini, it looked like we were going to sign him this summer.
That picture, was that Steve? Was that you that just sent the picture of Ozil and Podolski?
Yeah,
is Ozil standing on a box or something? Because he's the same height as Podolski.
Well, I don't know. It was on Instagram. Podolski just tweeted it. They're obviously at their German, whatever it is they're up to.
He looks taller than Podolski. He's standing on someone.
He's probably sat on Per's shoulders.
Well, he's 1.83 meters. So
what's that in English?
He's pretty tall. That's
6'1".
Oh, Ozil is 6'1".
Yeah, he is.
I thought he was about 5'8".
But that's what I'm saying is he's bringing what people don't understand, and I've seen him live, I've seen him every week. What he's going to bring, he's going to open up channels. He's going to give you a presence in the box. He can score goals. He can make an assist. I think people are underestimating the impact that this player has on a team. And at the end of the day, like FK said earlier, top 10 player in the world, easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Quality player. That's right. We've got to be. It's definitely it's a positive. Like you say, it's just we'd have signed a centre forward. Even if we'd have got Bar, it would have been great. But it's a shame. But who knows? Akpong, he might turn up. He might score goals. You never know. How do you know? You never know.
This is the thing, Geoff. Like, because if Arsenal did have plans of getting people like Rooney, Dzeko, Suarez, etc., and then they didn't come off, the plan B, as Gav quite nicely puts it, would have been someone like £25-30 million on Benteke. Because I know you might disagree that he's not worth it, but you're buying someone who's 21, 22. He's had a good first season in the Premier League. Even Loic Remy, who's gone to Newcastle on loan from QPR, would have been, I think personally, a decent kind of addition to the squad.
I agree with that.
But you know what? At the end of the day, maybe I rarely doubt Geoff, and Geoff. I think maybe Geoff's got a point in the sense that Arsene might go back in January and go for that striker that we missed out on this time, or maybe even next summer. Maybe we are relying on Walcott, Giroud, and Sanogo. Let's not forget. For January, I know it sounds kind of laughable at the moment because so many people have written off the young boy that we signed, but he deserves a chance. He deserves a bit of time, and he was quite impressive in the Under-20s World Cup. But we'll have to wait and see. But we can talk about strikers all night, I'm sure.
He looks like Bambi on ice.
Yeah, but you know what, Gav?
He's so out of his depth. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
but I'm sure the same was said about certain players like Ramsey and like so many players.
I remember Gareth Bale. But Gareth Bale going 25 games without a win at Tottenham, and he looked terrible.
Oh, back in the good old days.
Now he's 100 million quid.
And he was going to be sold for $3 million.
Yeah, he was. I remember seeing that story as well. And am I right in saying that he got offered 300 grand a week at Real Madrid?
Yeah, he's earned £60,000 today, apparently.
Fucking hell.
£34 a minute. So,
that is when footballers officially gone mad, when the monkey boy is on 300 grand a week.
Because there's no way he's better than Ozil, but he's double the money of Ozil. So how does that work?
He's definitely in the Peter Crouch class. If he wasn't a footballer, he'd be a virgin.
Yeah, good shout.
Just to change the subject slightly. I know it's only quick. There's an article up on Goal just before we started the podcast that said we had Ozil over at the Arsenal training ground last Tuesday, and all sneaky, all kept it quiet because they thought Tottenham would go for him.
Do you know what?
Been all kept very, very quiet, and because they was worried that Tottenham was going to either hijack it or try and fuck things up for us.
He wants something for Tottenham Hotspurs, mate.
I know there was a media blackout, and according to rumours, the corridor that runs past Arsene Wenger's office at Colney was actually blocked off. So all the younger players were actually moaning that they had to walk around the building to get to the dressing room from the actual to the training pitches. So there could actually be a fair bit of truth in that.
What's interesting is how we moved on from Di Maria to Ozil and how he became our prime target. And I'm going to be blogging on that tonight, and that should be out on a couple sites later on.
Give the address out then, John.
Well, it's going to be on both on She War and on Arsenal Vision.
Jolly good.
Fellaini's just joined Manchester United, apparently.
Yeah, how tedious.
26 million pounds, which is more than the release clause, which is a bit funny, but there you go.
Well, the release is 23 up until the 31st of July, wasn't it?
Well done, Bill Kenwright. Good luck to him. He's obviously chopped their nuts off there, isn't he?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Everton, they've brought in Gareth Barry and it seems James McCarthy, so
didn't they get Lukaku
they've done
as well?
all right.
Yeah, Lukaku was in for, wasn't he?
I know. Look, I read Lukaku's gone somewhere, but it didn't say where. I think I missed the banner along the bottom.
Didn't he go to West Brom again?
No, I think he's a bit too big for them.
Sure. I'm not sure. And by the way, people were mentioning Per Mertesacker. Apparently, he had a very influential role in terms of influencing
Ex-Werder Bremen teammates, weren't they?
They're really good mates. He was their captain. Sorry, Geoff.
Sorry, did United sign anybody in the end, or is that it? They're done?
Fellaini.
Oh, Fellaini, of course, yeah, sorry. Apart from Fellaini, nobody else?
No, just the right back, I think he's Uruguayan or something like that, right back. John?
Okay.
Who did he sign?
I have no idea. I don't. Do I fucking follow United? No.
But he's obviously not. He's obviously not rated highly because Valencia was playing right back at Anfield. But there you go.
They have signed Guillermo Varela from Penarol in Uruguay for £2 million.
Wonderful.
I butchered that name.
We don't all know each other in South America.
Do you know? I thought it was only 5 or 6 here.
Hey, Lukaku's gone to Everton. Great deal.
He has gone there.
Yeah, according to according to a few people on Twitter now.
We could have had him.
Great signing.
So we'll start to wrap this up then,
Sorry,
fellas.
go on.
And before I do, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the guests today, and I will reel them off. My apologies, but I'd like to thank Kate, Amanda. I'd also like to thank our own Geoff. I'd like to thank Tim Payton, Andrew at PR_who are you, Dean. I'd also like to thank Steve, our very own, Ollie Price-Bates, ex-player Adrian Clarke, and You Are My Arsenal, Michael Price, and John, our angry Venezuelan. I'd like to thank Pedro Lagrove, Poznan in my pants.
In his pants.
In his pants. Dave from the BSM, that's Media BSM, ex-player Jimmy Carter, FK, who came in and did a bit for us as well. Thank you, FK. Our old friend Dave Hillier, Mr. Arsblog, Raj Patel, I'd also like to thank, Little Will AFC, Armchair Gooner, Samuel 29060, Gav, our very own.
You missed out James.
Yorkshire
the beautiful
Gunner.
bastard.
Who, James?
James Raul Stokes.
Oh, no, I've done him.
No, you said he's Armchair Gooner, but he's a beautiful bastard, so he gets 2 mentions.
Oh, fair enough. and that's about it. I think there was about 20 people that came on today, and it's been emotional. I think Danny's quite fucked, and I'm reasonably tired myself. I'm
fucking had enough.
Gonna light up a nice green one and have a beer as well, just to end this day.
Well, the little stats that I'm about to tweet from our account is 11 podcasts, 24 guests, 300 plus new followers, 25,000 plus site hits, and one big loving shout out to all of you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed. This all was spawned from an idea about a month and a half ago, and
Your idea, you bastard. Shut up.
And we all sat down and had a chat on it and thought it could work, and loads of hard work has gone into it, not just by me and Danny, but by everyone concerned. And just a big, massive thank you to everyone who took part, and most of all the people that took their time to listen to us drone on today. So thank you very much from all of us.
Yeah.
We're gonna win the league. We're gonna win the league. And now you're gonna believe us. Now you're gonna believe us. Now you're gonna believe us.
We're gonna win.
Well, I started one onto all 7,000 of the podcast's followers. We're the East Ham, we're the East Ham, we're the East Ham Ivory.
We're the Clarke and we're the Clarke and we're the Clarke and Ivory.
Ivory.
There's no West Standers here then.
No,
They're all
not.
asleep as usual.
Harry Redknapp's doing a TV interview through the door just to sum things up. Absolutely, you couldn't make it up.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Why can't
now.
he do it on Brixton High Street and get shot in the boat?
11:16 p.m. He's leaning out of a car window and he's doing an interview.
Or someone have a tricky remote control and do the fucking window up while he's leaning out of it. Carjack the bastard.
One for all Redknapp.
Yeah.
I have to say, my poor old bum and stomach has suffered like fuck today. But it's been very enjoyable, gents. And it's made what's normally a very unpleasant, traumatic day rather much more enjoyable.
Oh, cheers.
United signed Fabio Contral from Real Madrid.
Who has?
United.
What?
Oh, Man United, have they?
Yeah, they signed Contral.
Oh, fuck them, they're all cunts.
They've got them on loan for the season, so it's quite.
He's horrible.
Is he not good? Or is he? He is good but horrible.
Is that the one they paid a fortune to Porto?
They pay they paid 35 million euros. The guy's a fucking disaster.
He should go work with the Retardo brother at right back then.
Right, so we'll wrap it up there then.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you guys.
That was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast, all 11 of them. Thank you very much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Nanu, cheeky monkey bitches.
All right, God bless you, boys.
See you later.
Done the enemy. I can't believe it.
I think all you fuckers are all delirious.
You know what, John, and you're the only one who's had a fucking drink.
Yeah.
Says two.
Right, I'm out of here, boys. God
Right,
bless
good
you.
night,
Tomorrow.
everybody. Take care,
See
guys.
you later, Geoff.
Bye.
Bye-bye.